Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special August 5th edition of ADP Chasing. We are joined today by special guest Adam Levitan, and we have real training camp news to discuss. Cooper Kupp is injured. Jordan Addison might be suspended midseason. We'll break it all down here. Let's do it.
ADP chasing is for when you watch ship chasing, you go, these guys are just football guys.
And the targets per outrun leagues, that's going to be really nice.
Actually back in if it's Ashane.
Stare into our crystal ball. Close your eyes, all your entries are going to lose anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
This is a Deuce Vaughn show.
It's anti-cabal. It's anti the best ball thought leaders. I'm obviously lying to some degree because I have a lot of both of these guys.
It's the most disgusting pick you can make. But man. How's it going, everyone?
Going good.
Sherman, you said Cooper Kupp is injured. You also wore a polo to lift weights today.
Yeah. What is the lifting weights polo?
And I saw Davis send an apology tweet after you delete. He doesn't understand that when you go delete life, you just pretend like it never happened. I mean, what the hell? What the hell is going on here, guys?
So,
yeah, that's tough.
Let's just get behind the curtain here. So you guys have probably noticed on my Twitter account, I've been tweeting out a lot of news, a lot of athletic, ESPN Plus, paywalled stuff, and it's going pretty well. Those are tweets that are performing well. I think it's a legitimate service to provide. People like it. My Twitter account is growing. Whatever. So I'm like, this Ayuk thing is a pretty big deal. I'll even call out the exact guy. Corinne, you know this guy who posted it in Pete's Discord, Chung, high stakes FFPC grinder. I'm on a show with Brian Hooper. We're about to finish recording, so I checked Discord. I had a couple notifications. I pull up Pete's Discord. I see this IU tweet, and I'm like, this is huge. That's like 14 retweets, 417 favorites. That's line it up. And then I realized after about Nez added me and told me that it was fake. And I was like, shit, all right, I got to delete this.
So you did absolutely zero work to determine if it was real before getting your 14 retweets.
No, come on.
Why would you send an apology, though? That's my thing. I've gone delete life before also, but then you don't send an apology. You just act like it never happened.
Well, because I would act like it never happened if it was really not a big deal. But this is what actually happened. Someone else, so the person who Chung posted in Pete's Discord, they took an old Brandon Ayuk photo from March on his actual Instagram, edited it, and added the Steelers. It's a particularly egregious miscarriage of justice on Twitter. So I felt normally I would not apologize, but this specific infraction demanded an apology.
Yeah, and to defend the working out in a polo, today was laundry day, had no more athletic shirts left. So that's all I had.
Unacceptable.
I'm sorry.
More unacceptable than what I did.
I'm on vacation right now. I don't have my full wardrobe. So that's my explanation.
It goes well with the polo for working out goes well with the commemorative Revolutionary War plates in your background.
All right. Well, now that
I was on Twitter over the weekend and I saw Mike McDaniel is just fake video of him going around. It's AI generated where he talks about Tyreek having another kid or whatever. And he's saying he's working on his pull out game. And I was like, man, I mean, this is funny, but it's a whole new world we're living in where AI, deep fake, videos that didn't exist. And then today to just find out just coloring in some hearts, different colors will still get people. maybe I don't have to worry,
All right.
Got me.
Let's dive into the meat of today's show. We only have Levitan for an hour. It's actually hard to get him for an hour. He's used to 15-minute podcasts.
Yeah, 15 minutes.
Run, so
who has 2 hours in the middle of the day? Get a job. Jesus Christ. What are you guys doing?
Job.
You think the show's only 2 hours long, Adam? Yeah, right, buddy.
Actually, I'm not sure if you guys are aware. I'm sure the YouTube grinders are. We've actually gone longer on our YouTube stuff. Not like you fucking insane people, but but clearly YouTube's been rewarding longer watch time stuff lately. So yes,
Yeah,
if you've noticed on the ETR channel, we have started going spreading our wings a little bit, not to the extent that you sick fucks do, but in some ways.
You're not trying to do a 5-hour stream on a Tuesday, man.
I would love to. I would love to. It's not practical, but yes.
We'll start today with the Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua situation. As I incorrectly said in the intro, Puka Nacua got hurt, not Cooper Kupp. He landed hard on his knee at practice a couple days ago. Schefter has called him week to week, and from his source heard that it is, quote, not serious in terms of Puka's knee injury. So I think partially as a result of that, and partially just because of general good vibes that Cooper Kupp was getting in camp before then, he is up 2 spots, now getting very close to the 2-3 turn. Start with the Cooper Kupp side of things here, Adam. How are you approaching Cooper Kupp around the 2-3 turn, pick 26 on Underdog?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing on Cooper Kupp for me has been a full offseason of health. Like literally the entire offseason, Cooper Kupp has been working, no injuries, no surgeries. Remember last year was coming off of the tightrope stuff and other issues, hamstring, etc. Seems like he's been totally clean all offseason. So especially on full PPR, not as much on Underdog, but on full PPR, I've taken Kupp in the 30th range, a reasonable amount as he moves up here. And I think he's going to move up a lot more on this Puka Nacua stuff. To me, it comes down to who you think the alpha is, how serious you think his knee injury is. I haven't seen an actual diagnosis on Nacua. My assumption is it's something similar-ish to DeAndre Hopkins, some type of like strained MCL, or this guy is speculating PCL sprain or bone bruise. We're still so far out. I know it feels like it's close now because we've all been drafting for 3 or 4 months, but we're still so far out. I'm going to play it as if Puka Nacua is ready for week 1. We did move, I think, 0.5% or percent of base share from Puka to Cooper Kupp. But like Sam said, I think that's a combination of the injury and just general good vibes and good camp on Cooper Kupp. So, I think there's so many question marks in round 2 right now. I would throw Cooper Kupp into the mix there as someone at the 2-3 turn I'm willing to take on as one of those question marks also.
That makes sense. I want to get a little bit into Cooper Kupp's drop-off last year. And obviously, it's worth noting that he's going to drop off in a lot of these statistics, and you can chalk that up to the injury and kind of throw the season out. But I think it is worth noting like exactly what happened last year, because starting with this targets for route run stuff, I hear a lot of people saying, he still had a 5% target share in the games he played last season. It was a pretty big drop off from his peak in targets for route run from 30 and 28% the past 2 seasons to 23% last year. Pretty huge drop off in yards per route run, half PPR points per game. You even look at some more sort of underlying like separation type statistics. In ESPN's open score, he had a pretty big drop off in 2023, ranking in the 23rd percentile in open score. And then Matt Harmon's success rate over expected stuff, he was like a 90th, 97 percentile guy in 2021 and 2022, dropped all the way down to 45 percentile in Harmon's stuff there. So again, like you can say he was injured last season. That explains all of the data. I'm still worried about a 31-year-old wide receiver who's been really banged up the past 2 seasons, returning to his peak form. And for me, like I do think he belongs in this sort of
time to learn
tier.
Breakfast Club, buddy. It's time to learn Breakfast Club.
Just to finish my point, I think he belongs in the tier of these wide receivers like the Neighbors, DK Metcalf, DJ Moore, etc. I'm just breaking my ties to the younger players because I think their floor is way, way better. Even though I do acknowledge that Kupp's like true ceiling maybe surpasses those guys, I prefer the floor of.
You mean the guy with the greatest PPR wide receiver season in history?
But in best ball, we're not like playing for like league winners as much as like floor. I think in the second and third rounds.
Just do your bit where you say he got outproduced by a 5th round rookie from BYU.
It's your 3rd round pick. So when you're in week 17, you're gonna need some huge scores, and your 3rd round pick being able to put up a huge score would be extremely helpful. So I don't really buy the floor argument in the sense of like, I mean, we don't want to just be like taking on extremely risky players in the third round, but the fact that he did turn in that season a couple years ago is still really enticing to me. And I feel like, he's had 2 injury plagued seasons since. Remember he was going to like retire this time last year. Remember we got that report. Like it's been, so then he, his numbers fall off last year as well. But like, I'm not concerned that he was way down from a 30% targets per out run while operating as the clear number 1 on his team. Like that's how you have that monster season, and you're gonna regress from that most likely. The Harmon point, I think it does carry some weight. He's never really been good in open score, and I think a potential weakness of that metric is it doesn't include any sort of timing of like I think part of it with him is just the mind meld that he has with Stafford. Literally. So that's interesting that he did drop off in Harmon's stuff, which, he'd been better in. So, but if you look at like just the last couple years, what his stats are, like he's still over 2 yards per out run over the last 2 years. So that's, without including that monster season. I don't think he needs to return. Like if he returns to peak form, then he should have been a first round pick.
Should have been a first round pick.
Yeah. So that's not actually the bet we're making in the third round. We're betting that he stops Puka from turning into what Kupp was a couple years ago, and he's like just a clear secondary guy.
So this morning I went, because we'd been talking about this on the show for like the last month, like, oh, why didn't Nacua ever run full routes in college? And I wanted to see if I could find anything that his coaches had said. So I didn't find anything that his coaches said, but BYU's official website mentioned that he battled lower body injuries in 2022. He injured his groin in high school, so he didn't play full snaps as a freshman either. So like he was a really high level recruit. I believe he was the number 6 overall wide receiver recruit coming out of high school. He broke a bone in his foot after recovering from another injury as a freshman. And then all of the BYU beat writers, I went back and looked at like his, like he got, our guy got drafted in the NFL, and they all mentioned the lower body injuries. I mean, I don't want to put it out there, and I'm not saying this, and I went through a rankings change today, and I didn't move Nacua in my rankings.
Definitely not saying this, but
not putting it out there, except for the tweet he sent about all of the Nacua injuries.
So I'm definitely not saying this, but what I am saying is I wonder if the Rams coaches eventually end up doing something kind of similar to what happened with Nacua at college, which was he didn't run that many routes. He ran about 65% of the routes.
I don't think that's. I mean, I don't think there's any chance that happens, to be honest.
It's yeah. I think it's more a question of role. But anyway, the one thing that I would say about both these guys, I think Arizona, who obviously the Rams play in week 17. I know all you virgins have your flashcards ready. So who they play in week 17?
We don't need the flashcards. Those are for me.
Crane invented a mnemonic device, dude. We don't need a
flashcards. Give me a break.
I think they might have the worst pass defense in the NFL, period. Like the worst pass rush combined with an extreme lack of secondary talent in Arizona. So I think when you're breaking ties there, I think that's interesting. And like to what Sam said, I hear what you're saying. I think you just have to think about it in comparison to players he goes around. So we're up to 23 overall on Underdog. Right now we have Mike Evans, 22, Brandon Ayuk, which situation is getting messier, 21, Neighbors, 24, Devonta Smith, 26, Metcalf, 28, DJ Moore, 29. You're not comparing him to the elite of the elite. You're comparing him to guys we have like wide receiver 20 and wide receiver 19. And at that point, when a guy like Cooper Kupp, with literally I think the best, most friendly wide receiver quarterback maybe in the history of the NFL, and Matthew Stafford, I'd be willing to capitulate and take some shots there.
Yeah, let me just clarify my floor point. I guess what I mean by that is like, assuming they're healthy, I'm very confident going into weeks 15 to 17 that if I have DJ Moore, DK Metcalf, Malik Neighbors, those guys are going to have massive weekly ceilings in week 15 to 17. I think there's just some outcomes with the age risk stuff. Like,
this is
again,
it
was,
you're saying
it was a match of
Malik Neighbors ceiling over Cooper Kupp ceiling. Like we've seen Cooper Kupp be.
I'm just saying that there's
guy.
No chance that like DJ Moore or DK Metcalf are like not good football players anymore. And you have to price in that risk with Cooper Kupp.
I really don't think you have to. That he's not a good football player anymore. I'm just betting again. I'm willing to just bet.
He's
against
a 32-year-old wide receiver, right? That's off a massive drop off. How are we pretending there's no?
But Sam, risk? Like, the drop off point.
That's a classic Davis Maddox thing right there. He added a year. He just added. He's only 31. Sam just did the classic Davis Maddox thing. He just made him a year older for his
he just turned 31.
He's about to turn 33.
He had 1.77 yards per route run last year. That includes the playoff game, which he didn't do a ton in. That's fine. It's not amazing like he has been over the years before that. Even so, 2021 season obviously was insane, 3.12, but he was 2.40 2 years ago. So it's not like we're not writing off a season where he was like atrocious. Like this isn't a 1.1 yards per hour. And like, oh my God, this guy's done. Like
he's not just Jonathan fucking Mingo, dude. He's Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, that's again, that's I don't know. It's not what I'm saying. And I just want to share this from Dwayne McFarland. He did a lot of research into when to sort of jump off the train with these aging elite wide receivers. And he flagged Cooper Kupp as someone that was flashing a lot of warning signs. So again, I disagree that you can't price in age risk for a guy that showed, again, he like it's a decline off a very high point. So I acknowledge that. But I wouldn't just completely dismiss. Again, like these aren't bad wide receivers that we have to pick over Cooper Kupp. It's DK Metcalf, DJ Moore, Malik Neighbors, Devonta Smith. I personally like my odds with those guys better than Kupp, but I realize definitely
my truth serum. If you guys were talking about that on Ship Chasing last week, like if we all did a show where we were on truth serum, my truth serum would be my true heart of hearts would be I would just take Cooper Kupp straight up over Puka. Like,
we got to do the truth serum show. I just love it.
Yeah, but like the Rams PR, because I was doing the news stuff. Rams PR is all in. It's still Stafford still does the Breakfast Club. Yeah. Like he throws to Kupp first, and when they practice their routes and everything, it's all there if he can stay healthy.
On the Puka injury though, it is interesting. Like with his, it shows just I think how locked in that top 11 is. Like no one even wants to consider taking anyone that's not those 11.
So everybody's going to start taking Marvin Harrison Puka, all the week 17 bros. Like everybody who has the 12 spot is going to take Puka Nacua, Marvin Harrison.
It's our generation's.
So are you taking like Gibbs at 11, Adam?
No, I think I would take Garrett Wilson if that's available.
Garrett Wilson will be gone because he was going 11. He'll go over Puka.
Oh, yeah. So we have Drake London 11 now, Puka 12, Marvin 13, and Gibbs 14.
That seems about right to me. Let's move on here to another player that I'm sure is going to be a quick debate. Justin Fields up 16 spots.
Well, who's going to take the short side on this one?
193.
Sam, go ahead, Sam. Why is this bad?
I debated long and hard about this, whether I wanted to lean into the bit of being the anti-Justin Fields guy. Crane and I famously have a bet that I got this in at 5-1 odds for the record. I only owe Crane
You're just still lose, but you got
Crane owes me 50 if Justin Fields does not start week 1. So I won the bet regardless of the outcome. I got it in
good process. It was good process.
But yeah, man, it's the vibes on roster.
I won the bet regardless of the outcome.
Yeah, regardless of the outcome. It doesn't matter. I got it in good. Here's the quote from Schefter today, and then I'll kick it to you guys. Schefter, quote on the McAfee show, "I still think that Russell Wilson has the pole position, and we'll see what happens when he's back from this calf injury." It's obviously become like more of a true competition than what Steelers brass was framing it as to begin with.
Where is the competition? Russell Wilson got hurt in his fun conditioning practice and hasn't practiced. So, yeah, of course, Justin Fields out there looking good. How do we know that if Russ Wilson wasn't out there for the last 2 weeks, he looked good? Russ Wilson says
because he hurt himself pushing a sled, Adam.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, this has gotten completely out of control. I would still take action on anyone who wants to bet on Justin Fields starting week 1. I'm happy to take Russell Wilson. Now, if you want to tell me you think Justin Fields is going to start in the fantasy playoffs and make a bunch of starts this year, you might very well be right. I still think it's Russell Wilson. So in week 1,
I had obviously Sam got me process wise on the Fields bet. We'll see.
Obviously,
if he wins.
Obviously.
But what about I bet Leone just straight up $100 who starts week 14. I have Fields side on that. Where are you on that?
I would call that a probably close to a flip at this point. I don't think like this Field stuff. You realize that the best the Bears could do was a conditional 6th round pick for him. The NFL does not like this guy
he's ass.
whatsoever.
He's ass, but also Russell Wilson is ass.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's an important part of this.
And that's why I would call it a stone cold flip, because they're both fucking terrible at playing NFL football.
But Levitan, the thing about the week 1 stuff is where Fields always looks really fucking good? Practice, because he can't get sacked in practice.
Right.
He's like the opposite of Tebow. He's like the GOAT practice quarterback, because the fact that he's a half second behind in the processing matters way less in practice. And Tomlin, the quarterbacks Tomlin has been watching for the last 5 years of his life, Pickett, Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges. He's looking at Justin Fields like, I've never seen anything like this.
Well, he had Ben Roethlisberger at the tail end of his career for like 6 years before that. He can't believe what he's seeing with Fields.
Yeah. The other thing that I was going to say about this Field stuff is like there's certain builds. Like it's a very specific build where I consider taking Justin Fields. Like let's say I get stuck in quarterback and I have 2 like no upside. Let's say I end up with like Stafford and Baker as my 2 quarterbacks. I'm willing to tack on to Justin Fields at that point. But now these animals are now taking Justin Fields in like the 150s. So I don't see how I'm going to get Justin Fields. That's
the thing is you can't give slappies like me an inch, because then they'll take a mile. Like I'm in. So we start doing this whole conversation, and Leone is like, if you have Fields exposure and you think he gets benched, like basically Leone called me a coward, and I was like, I should check my exposure. How much do I have? And I only have 8% of him when this all started. So now I'm in the 15th round, and these slow puppies, like, I mean, what's a 15th round pick really? And
that's Noah Fant, buddy.
Yeah, it is.
I honestly think
the cabal.
Yeah, I think also DraftKings versus Underdog, this is a place where there's a huge difference. I think on DraftKings, you can get away with burning a pick because you have 20 roster spots. Like you have so many luxury picks in that format. There, I'm almost taking a third quarterback like the majority of the time, unless maybe I have Allen or Hurts. So there, I'm way more inclined to burn my 16th, 17th round pick on Fields because, again, I don't think it like – the other choice is like a 9th or 10th wide receiver. Like that probably doesn't add that much anyways. So
I guarantee you, as soon as Russ gets back in practice, Mark Kaberle and these other Steelers are going to be all over. This quote you have here, on the screen, it's going to say the same thing, except it's going to say Russ Wilson is killing it, and he's going to be the starter for the whole year.
Yeah. He is a prime offender. Mark Kaberle loves to hype up whichever quarterback the fans hate the most. That's like his like thing.
But I do think so. Kaberle was saying, because he was just like towing the company line all offseason, like it's Russ, it's never going to be Fields. You won't see Fields this year. But then he also was saying, but Fields could be their starter in 2025. And I was like, what? Yeah. Like if that's true at all, and I assume he heard that from someone, like they would have to take a look at him before. So I've read that as like if the Steelers miss the playoffs, we're definitely seeing Fields, because if they have any interest in that at all, it just makes no sense to roll out Russ once they haven't made the playoffs. So that's part of why I'm pretty confident we do.
I didn't follow.
The good news is the Steelers have never made the playoffs with a dog shit quarterback.
Okay, did you guys? I don't know if you guys are deep enough in the athletic weeds to get this, but they have been practicing Fields packages, like specific like goal line Fields bullshit, like end around flip to Jalen Moore and Jalen
make it
Moore
the first snap so I can win this bet.
No, we're getting the lawyers involved if there's a wildcat Justin Fields.
If he's out there for a wildcat snap, Sam.
The bet was
I have
most
a criminal
fantasy
defense
points.
lawyer DMing me right now about Jordan Addison. I'm going to hire him to back me up.
I would throw out there like I get what you're saying about Fields, potentially bailing you out in like certain situations and certain builds. But I think he also like he's the type of quarterback that we haven't really had in this range of the draft very often. And so he kind of bails you out in spots where you're like, oh, do I need to be bailed out? Like if you have Brock Purdy and Tua, Fields seems pretty great. Like even if you have like Stroud and Trevor Lawrence, I'd be willing to add Fields, I think. Like there's
no build where I'm not adding him right now.
Well, if you have like Josh Allen, I don't know if you need to add Fields. You more want a guy who's definitely starting.
What about if you have Mahomes and you just go raw dog Mahomes and Fields?
That honestly seems really fun to me.
That's going to work well on FFPC if they change Justin Fields' position to tight end. That can really work out well.
Wait, Corinne, you're not where like I'm sure you've seen the data like in Leonie's article, like the biggest data edge. It's not even close. Go to the best ball playoffs with 18 or 20 healthy, active players, period. If you're taking a 0 from Justin Fields, your EV is slashed by like 30% or more versus having an active player, regardless of the position. So I'm just like so petrified of walking into the fantasy playoffs with a stone 0 on my team. I want to get there with as many as I can. I mean, it's really drastic, 18 to 17 to 16 to 15 as you go down.
No, that's a really good point. I haven't been hammering Fields to this point. I'm at 4%. I've been taking a ton of Drake May, and it's a similar type of play, but I'm like, Drake May is starting by the fantasy class. Like that. He is just a lock. So I'm not getting that 0. Fields, I've been like fighting that same thing. I don't want to take a 0 here. Honestly, some of the like he might start week 1 stuff, we've been getting nervous about that because he then might get benched. We can't handle Fields getting benched. We need him to come in for Russ once he gets benched. So, it isn't.
That's what I said to Jacob. I said the worst thing for Fields starting in week 17 would be him starting in week 1.
Yeah. But it's I am definitely like, I know, the 6th round pick and all of that. It definitely showed the NFL is not interested in this guy being a starting quarterback for them. But I also maintained that like there was sort of a threshold that he needed to clear to have a team make their offseason about getting Justin Fields as their 2024 starter. And he did not meet that threshold. And once he didn't meet that threshold, I wasn't like all that concerned with like, if it was a 4th, if it was a 6th, like a team didn't want to like make him the face of their franchise, the face of their offseason. And so he was going to have to basically surprise somebody. But I think he does certain things really well. He does some other things really poorly. But to me, this was like a really strong setup for him where Russ is washed. So I'm struggling with it because I do want to just bet on him to take
they
the
were
job.
done with him. This was the nut spot.
Well,
exactly.
It's certainly a good fit. I mean, Arthur Smith, would be happy to give Justin Fields 15 carries per game.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that did not, what you just said did not tone down the fact that I'm going to be drafting him in the 15th round.
So yeah, I mean, as he rises up, I think he's okay in like the 15th, to be honest. Like those are all $1 players.
It's like, Adam Thielen. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if he rises up more from here, like I'm not going to be like loading up right now. I'm basically locked into being underweight. Don't you kind
of have this happen right now where like some of the 18th round picks you like better than the guys who are just anchored in the 14th because they've been going there for 2 months? Like I get to the Quentin Johnston, Adam Thielen, Roman Wilson range, and I'm like, I don't want to fucking click any of these guys. I'm just scrolling. And why wouldn't I scroll for Justin Fields?
Yeah, this happened to me with Jalen McMillian where I was like, I like him better than all these dudes. I just need to start taking him up much higher.
Yeah. Last thing on Fields, I do think the build specific nature of him is important. Personally, I think he's a lot better in 3 quarterback builds than 2. I think Leonie's data, again, really showed the importance of having multiple stacked quarterbacks in the playoffs. And I think with Fields, you're just running a 50-50 shot of having that. And if you only have one other quarterback in the fantasy playoffs, I just think that's a little bit dicier, not a play that I would make. Chase Brown here, speaking of guys that Davis cannot stop reaching above ADP on, he's up to pick 107, the biggest riser over the past week. Davis, are you as someone who's been drafting him, is in the 120s, maybe even close to 130, you still chasing him here at 107?
I posted this in the Deposit Kingdom last night. I view it as the Jalen Warren flood wall. Once he gets to where Jalen Warren is going, that is when the slappies will have gone too far. But he should be going ahead of Zach Moss. Kind of that Brian Robinson, Raheem Mostert range where it's like a split backfield and we kind of don't know which one way, who's going to win out, who's going to be starting in week 17. But it's pretty clear that the 2 concerns the Bengals had about him were pass protection and pass catching, right? Because it's so funny. We think of Chase Brown as like the Pollard or whatever, but his college profile is like the opposite. His college profile is like early down grinder, 300 rushes, like handles all the work. And he worked with Drew Lieberman, who is a wide receiver coach who worked with Brandon Ayuk and Jacoby Myers in the offseason. And he like fixed all that stuff, and he's their best running back right now. So he's going to get the most fantasy points in that backfield, I think.
Levitan, what are your thoughts on this rise for Chase Brown?
Yeah, I think he's like my second or third highest owned running back so far. I'm concerned as he moves up because I actually think that he's not going to play on most pass downs. And I think the Bengals could tell themselves a story that Zach Moss is also better at the goal line. And if Samaje Perine gets cut, and I think this is kind of getting, less and less, and I'm trying to factor it in less and less, but there is still some chance they add someone to this backfield. So it starts to get hairier for me, at 107 for sure. We're at 115 overall. We haven't gone too far. We did move 1% of base carries from Chase to Zach Moss. We talked again today about maybe moving more from Zach Moss to Chase Brown, but I don't think that he's going to play the pass downs, and I don't think that he's a lock for goal line work either. And at that point, it's like, God, that's where we're going to get most of our points. But I still want to be in on the guy as like an exciting young player who can carry a big workload and a good offense. So I'm happy with what I have right now. As he gets towards 107, I would probably take him right there with Brian Robinson and Tony Pollard and Devin Singletary. I would. Yeah, God, this is getting bad. I mean, we've gotten our CLV. This is going to get real hot. He's going to start going to the 90s soon. I mean, it's going to get real hot real fast.
I've been taking him in the 8th round in weekly winners just because I want to have him in weekly winners.
Yeah. I was at like 10% on him before the rise because I was being a little too cautious on some of the stuff that you're talking about, Adam, with like Moss might have the high value stuff. And, we don't like, I just been rug pulled on guys like Chase Brown a bunch.
Our whole life, Crane, life, we've been getting rug pulled on guys like this.
It's nonstop. And like his comps, I went back and looked at my write-up on him. It's like DeAndre Washington, Eno Benjamin. It's just like dudes that were like, this is going to be the guy. And
Eno Benjamin famously had a 10% advance rate without recording a statistic because it was only Slappies who drafted him.
He was. So I was definitely like a little cautious, still in, but not hammering him. And the training camp stuff to me has been pretty bullish. Where I'm like, okay, he should flip Moss for sure. And then kind of how high should he rise? So I'm kind of playing catch up a little bit. I've been pretty aggressive in drafting him since. I'm up to 13% now. And I don't have any problem kind of just like penciling him in as my 9th round pick. That's fine to me. What I'm worried about is that he actually rises up from there. That like as all the running backs
rises up from there, that's a bit like I don't even know if I can get with that really.
Okay.
Yeah, like I think like the 90 to 100 range makes sense. Like if he starts going ahead of like Raheem Mostert or someone like that, I think that's where I stop drafting him. But yeah, 107 seems like a fair reaction.
He should probably go ahead of Raheem Mostert.
That's what I think. I think he should probably go ahead of Mostert.
It's Warren where I'm like.
Well, to me, it's like Swift. You get to Swift, and then it's like,
yeah,
you probably take Swift.
I think that's right. Right.
I think, it's definitely been positive news on him. I think you can, nitpick exactly where he should go, but it doesn't seem like too much of a rise to me. Another Bengals riser here. Wanted to pair them together here.
Are you guys? Well, Moss. Can I talk Moss? Like,
sure.
Yeah,
what's the play on Moss? I'm not really scooping Moss at all right
now.
No,
I am scooping.
Okay.
I've got some of them on. I got some teams now with both of them where you take Chase Brown at pick 96 or whatever, and then you come back around and Moss is still there.
Yeah,
I think that's like a good handcuff.
It's like people always ask like, oh, how much do you have of this guy? How much of this guy? It's like I don't really care how much I have of them. It's at what price people you have people at, and so I don't have very much Zach Moss right now. We have him 104 overall. His ADP is 98. I guarantee, and we're going to stick around this 104 range at Zach Moss. I guarantee I'm going to start getting him now. Like he's going to start going 110, 115, and I'm going to start getting him there for sure.
Yep. That's definitely going to happen.
Yep. Andrei Iosivas is the other Bengals riser. Been getting steady camp hype throughout the offseason. Levitan, I think I've seen you tweet out him a couple times over the past week. Is he a guy that you're chasing up from the 18th round to the 17th or 16th, or do you think it's getting a little too pricey at 203?
Yeah, so I'm not really a dynasty player, but this guy's been on my radar for the dynasty bros only because I was so sure that T. Higgins was going to be gone after this year, and Iosivas just seemed like the exact kind of fit behind him. Obviously, he has to come out and play well. I don't know, man. I think I played him in DFS one time last week at like 3K. I mean, it was a wild ride. Yes, I don't want to say that he's going to completely ice Jermaine Burton. I think he'll start the season ahead of Jermaine Burton. How that goes from there,
it would be really bad for me if he totally iced him.
I mean, I don't think he's going to totally ice him. Andrei Iosivas is playing the slot for the first time in his entire life, like literally his entire life. I'd like to see Jamar Chase in the slot.
He's also kind of like brand new to playing football. He played junior varsity football at Princeton.
Yeah. So I was taking a ton of. I have like 12% in the 20th. Yeah, he was a real player for Princeton, wasn't he?
Look it up.
Yeah.
Look it up.
By his senior year, he was.
Yes,
player,
but his first 2 years, he was literally playing. I mean, imagine what junior varsity football is like.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I had some buddies at Princeton that were on the JV football team.
PFF has stats for him. Do they chart junior varsity at Princeton?
I am positive that this is true, and that I'm not making it up. 100%.
Anyways, I'll get to. I asked Crane to dig into his prospect profile a little bit, so I'll kick it to him in a sec. But I did just want to go over his very limited routes last year. I would not punt a ton of stock into this, but he did run 152 routes. That's not nothing. It is worth noting last year that the team preferred Trenton Irwin over him as sort of the rotational wide receiver 4 when the other guys were banged up. And Iosivas, he was fine for being that, deep of a day 3 rookie. Earned targets is at a 16% rate. That seems solid to me. The yards per route run, again, I would not put that much stock into that in 150 routes. But yeah, just wanted to show how he performed last year compared to the other Bengals wide receivers. And yeah, T. Higgins' agent sent me a lot of money to not have him on this chart. Crane, any notes on his prospect profile? I don't know if you had a chance to look into it.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually better than I thought it would be because he was very inefficient last year, and I've been kind of like, But he was, he had a 34% yardage share in his final season at Princeton, 44% touchdown share. So one of these guys who was, I think he was a 5th-year senior by that point, but he was very productive and also pretty efficient. He had yards per route run of 2.71. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely intriguing, and he's athletic, 6'3", 212, the 4'4", 340.
He's a heptathlete. He is a Ivy League champion heptathlete. That was his primary sport at Princeton.
Yeah, we actually almost. This is a real inside baseball. We were close to getting him on ADP chasing last year, and the last second he bailed out. So
I still follow
have the
him on Twitter.
Invites still open. Iosivas, so you're listening. Levitan, did you have another point to get in on him?
Wait, say that again. You were going to have Andrei Iosivas on ship chasing. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I was doing this for the 4th hour of the show.
Yeah. He was gonna draft the little Chihuahua
under what pretense? Like he's gonna come on and draft a team or
we
what?
were hip to him because he was like a really interesting prospect,
right? And
yeah,
you just cold DM'd him, was like, hey, do you want to come on this 4-hour virgin
I've cold
basketball show?
I cold DM'd.
What are your thoughts on virgins?
It worked. I cold DM'd Lauby and it worked, and I cold DM'd Janice and it worked. So these guys who are like kind of marginal NFL players, they fucking think fantasy players caring about them is so funny. Like they think it is hilarious that people
This was before he got drafted. He was really nice when I DM'd him about it, but yeah, ultimately said no. So is what it is.
I don't have anything more on Iosivas beyond like I was taking him a ton in round 20, and I've seen him going like round 16 and 17 now. It's getting harder there.
I think the move now is to slurp the Dipperino on Jermaine Burton. Like round 16 Jermaine Burton. That's pretty. I mean, like maybe he sucks, but round 3 wide receiver on like the 4th best passing offense in the Bengals. Like he's going after Jalen McMillian and some of my stuff now that I see.
And a deep threat. Like he's the type of guy who gets out there a little bit at the end of the year and it could make a difference. So yeah, I like scooping the dip on Burton for sure.
Let's talk here about another rookie wide receiver. I guess, sorry, Iosivas' second year, but another young wide receiver that is making a lot of splash plays at camp. Jalen McMillian is up a full round to pick 176 off just steady camp hype. Todd Bowles, I had a snippet of the clip in here, but he was consistently talking up Jalen McMillian. Start with you, Levitan. Have you guys adjusted the ranks at all on McMillian based on the steady camp buzz?
I mean, this is probably like in terms of late round guys, we were like 40 spots ahead on this guy for like 2 months straight. And I was like, man, the market's not moving towards us. Like, this is going to be a problem. And now it's finally getting here on all this camp stuff. We're still ahead of market, 171.
The ETR ranks woke up angry
And got to 170, and he's up to 177 in ADP now. Yeah, it just seems like a classic bet you want to make in best ball.
Yeah.
Like a talented rookie with a clear path. Mike Evans is old-ish, and this regime came in and drafted Jalen McMillian and had been talking him up. So, yeah, I mean, it just seems like a classic close your eyes, no-brainer. There is some paths to a real big-time role right away, but I don't think you're going to get like zeros from Jalen McMillian at any point this year. I do think he wins the wide receiver 3 role pretty cleanly in this offense.
Yeah. Crane, go to you on McMillian.
No, I mean, I completely agree that he's a clear target. I'm actually hoping that in some of the preseason stuff, it won't be super clear right away that he has taken the job. And it will kind of cool off his price.
Well, be careful what you wish. Be careful what you wish for, because you might get scared off if he's playing in the third. You okay? All right.
I won't, because he's done enough to where I'm like
me then, Pat.
This dude's taking the job. He's taken the job from Trey Palmer over the course of the year and probably over the course of the preseason. But I wouldn't mind a little week one.
That is the one thing.
Preseason week one snaps. I mean,
I don't know if you guys have had this experience, but I've kind of loved every wide receiver 3 the Buccaneers have ever had, other than Russell Gage. Like, I've been infatuated with Trey Palmer and Tyler Johnson and Scotty Miller.
Oh yeah.
And there was another guy.
Justin Watson.
Justin Watson was a really good one. Yeah. So it's like, I've done this. So, and I know that this is like it's like the Rashee Rice thing all over again, where it's like, just because the wide receiver 3 for the Buccaneers has been this archetype, like good prospect, shitty NFL fantasy player. I mean, and I've got like 19% Jalen McMillian.
Scotty Miller and Justin Watson are still in the league, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the concern that I'm starting to have here is how much can Baker Mayfield, like one of the other 2 guys has to crater. Like Evans or Godwin has to crater for McMillian to really matter.
Yeah. And that's actually related to the question I was going to ask you guys. Who do you feel has a cleaner, who has won or will win the wide receiver 3 job cleaner? Jalen Tolbert, Cowboys wide receiver, or Jalen McMillian, Bucks wide receiver 3. Now, McMillian to me is clearly like better player than Jalen Tolbert. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. But when you start thinking about, I don't think Brandon Cooks is a big time target earner. I don't know if Jake Ferguson is going to be a big time target earner throughout his career. And then you start getting a cleaner path for Jalen Tolbert, who goes 23 picks later. I don't like Jalen Tolbert as a player that much, but just in terms of path to opportunity, I don't know. That feels like a gap that's too wide to me between Tolbert.
I've really struggled with Tolbert, though, because I don't think Tolbert's good. And I think, like, what it means to be the wide receiver 3 in Dallas could mean, like, 65% route participation. Like, they could rotate in Jalen Brooks or whoever else. Like, Flournoy. There's situations in the NFL where we learn names, and Jalen Tolbert being the wide receiver 3 is one where we learn some names. I think.
Right.
Schoonmaker's been looking good.
That's why I asked.
Billy Johnson is a guy who's been popping up.
Right. That's why I asked who you think is cleaner wide receiver 3, McMillian or.
I think McMillian actually, because I think he can just consolidate a role where he's like a full-time
what you
player.
win when you win is much bigger with McMillian than it is because he could also. I mean, Evans is 30. Godwin is an old. Godwin's like an old 28. He's like 28, but he feels like he's 24 or 34. So like there's definitely crater risk there with both those guys. I think
for sure.
Godwin is 20, turns 29 in February, so he is factually an old 28.
Yeah, he's an old 28. Yeah, last thing I'll add on McMillian is I think that these wide receivers that play in really
Jalen
crowded.
Darden, another one.
Oh,
of those guys that
yeah.
I was like,
Oh,
damn,
Jalen
Jalen
Darden.
Darden could play.
I forgot about that guy. But yeah, I was just gonna say he played with Rome Odunze and Jalen Polk at University of Washington. I just think sometimes those guys go a little bit later in the draft. The guys who play in really crowded wide receiver rooms.
He was also banged up this past year.
Yeah. And yeah, led the team in touchdowns over Rome Odunze the year before. So I just think there's some untapped upside in this profile that, yeah, man, Jalen Tolbert, we've just seen it for 2 years. It's been pretty ugly with not great competition ahead of him either year, honestly. So
Michael Gallup just retired, and he held that job over him.
Let's get into fallers here. DeAndre Hopkins, obviously the biggest faller of the past week. He's down 20% in ADP, a full round. Adam, is that enough of a fall knowing that he's an older player who is now out 4 to 6 weeks? I think the wording is that they're hopeful he's back week 1, but it's not guaranteed. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it goes back to what you thought pre-injury of DeAndre Hopkins. We actually thought that Hopkins was a better pick than Calvin Ridley.
Same.
And so we just got completely punched in the cock on this because now I have like no Ridley and I have like 15% Hopkins, and now I'm not gonna be able to get any Ridley because now his ADP is up in like, in the 50s or something like that. And I'm not taking Calvin Ridley there. So yeah, this is bad. In terms of what to do now, for me personally, considering I already have 15%, I'll probably back off. We got down to 95th on Underdog in the ranks on there. It's just 4 to 6 weeks sounds like a somewhat serious injury for a 32-year-old guy. I am very confident that Tennessee is going to be one of the more pass-happy teams this season in neutral situations. I am not confident at all that Will Levis can execute that kind of game plan and be successful doing it. So it's a bit of a parlay now on Hopkins. You need him to still be the guy, still be good at 32. You need his knee to be right, and you need Will Levis to be decent. So I think for me, Hopkins in the 90s would probably be where I would start taking him again.
Yeah, I'm actually taking some Ridley now. I don't have any Ridley. Like we were completely in agreement. I was just like, I don't understand the Ridley price. I don't understand the Hopkins price. Hopkins felt like such a smash to me. He had, a good season last year with the same quarterback. And so I was pretty excited to be taking him in the 6th round. Now I'm cooling off a lot. Like, I just think in this situation, it's like, well, it went against me. I'm not going to double down with on the bet is different now. So doubling down, it just doesn't make sense. And however, I am now willing to say, okay, well, Ridley, part of the reason I was not that into him is that I think Hopkins is better. Hopkins is going to operate as the 1. So if Hopkins is falling off a bit, or if he misses games early on potentially, or if he's never right all season, then Ridley is a materially better bet. So I'm willing to take him at kind of the end of the 5th round and get at least some exposure. I thought on this news that he was going to rise up to like the 3rd or 4th round because I've never understood the Calvin Ridley price. So the fact that he hasn't
budged at all.
Yeah. I've been like taking that as, okay, like if you guys are going to let me have him at the old price, then I think I'm like duty bound to get at least some.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And yeah, we talked about Ridley in depth on last week's show.
Is it too big brain to think that Ridley is a worse pick if Hopkins is banged up? Because it just might just be like a horrible slog to watch the Tennessee Titans play football.
I mean, I always assumed it was going to be a horrible slog.
I was more with Levitan. I'm like, they're going to give Levis a chance to be 7% pass rate over expectation and just see what happens.
They still will, I think.
Yeah. The good news is the wide receiver depth. Like, say what you want about Treylon Burks, having him as a wide receiver 4, that's like decent.
Yeah, it's pretty good, right? Pretty good. Yeah, Treylon Burks is back on the menu, boys.
Back on the menu. I don't know if it's a bit or not, but I honestly think he's not the worst.
It's not a bit.
20th
I've taken him a couple times.
Oh, the Treylon backdoors since his injury. I've done it. Levis, Treylon backdoors.
Yeah, you can't give up on Treylon Burks until you see him in the power slot role. Everyone who knows ball knows that. Let's talk Kendre Miller here. I know we just have Levitan for 10 more minutes, so trying to go at the Market Monday 1 minute per player pace. He's down 24 spots, he's getting close to like 18th round from where he started. I think around pick 140-ish. Levitan, are you holding any hope out? I know you guys talk, you and Silva talk to Underhill over with the Saints a decent bit. Are you holding out any hope that Kendre can turn the story around?
If you talk to Underhill, the answer
Yeah, I
would
was going to say, how many Underhill? What's Underhill say?
he would say no, but he says no on every Saints player. He just hates every single player on the Saints. He thinks they all suck.
Even like Rashid Shaheed, he's like, that guy sucks.
Yeah. He has like no excitement whatsoever.
What about Taysom though?
Yeah. I don't know, man. This is really bad on Kendre. I do think that like Dennis Allen, unlike a lot of NFL coaches who just only talk positively, like he goes out of his way to talk negatively about players in the media. And maybe like coaches sometimes do that about guys they like. They just want them to work harder, you know? So I didn't take the Dennis Allen quote like he's got to make the team or what. Like I didn't take that as that bad. He's trying to push a guy that he knows is talented and maybe hasn't had the best work ethic or whatever. The bigger concern for me is the Saints believe they need Alvin Kamara to make the offense work, and coaches love putting the ball in the fucking belly of my close personal friend, Jamal Williams. Like, just love it. You know, like they cannot stop giving the ball to Jamal Williams. So with bottom 5 offensive line now that Ryan Ramczyk retired, it doesn't look great. But at pick 185, a running back of Kendre Miller's talent, at least, I don't know what you guys thought of him as a prospect. I know a bunch of prospect bros thought he was pretty talented. At pick 185, close my eyes and take a shot. I think that's totally fine. We're at 191 on Kendre Miller. And like, I need running back at this point so often. It's like, I haven't done it, but just talking through it, I'm kind of like, man, would not be the craziest thing in the world for Kendre's talent to eventually shine through in this backfield. And you're paying like nothing at this point.
You are, but I mean, the thing about the Dennis Allen quote that concerned me was that he had a hamstring injury, and it's just like, dude, like, what you think he just like decided that? Like, he didn't choose to have a hamstring injury, and you're talking about how he needs to like get right and start, you know, stop getting hurt, basically. So I'm like, you hate this guy. This is like a very unfair thing to do. So it just had me pretty nervous about like where because the whole Kendre play is that he forces the issue with Kamara, who's very over the hill as a runner. He still does all the receiving stuff decent, but he's been in a long decline now as a runner. But like, we need the team to believe in Kendre or be like open-minded about what Kendre can do out there for that to happen. The most likely scenario is that Kamara just like eats a shitload of snaps this year and doesn't do much with them.
What about this scenario? The Saints suck. Alvin Kamara is almost certainly off the team next year. Let's see Kendre Miller down the stretch and see what he has.
I love that scenario, but are we living in a world where they're even interested in that? Yeah. Like that's where I'm starting to get concerned.
I'm very confident Kamara won't be on the team next year. Like that's one thing that I think is for sure. So yeah. I mean, what do you think about like Kendre versus Braylon Allen? Because I take Braylon Allen a decent amount.
I take Braylon. Yeah.
To me, it's getting like, you know who, like, okay, don't hurt your hamstring or you might get cut versus this guy kind of reminds me of Danny Woodhead. I prefer the Woodhead comps. Like, it's honestly like, that's where I'm getting to, man.
Oh, I love it. Corain, you just made my day, dude. Corain saying that he takes Dylan Laube over Kendre Miller.
No, Shipley. Didn't Shipley get the Woodhead comp?
Yeah. Well, and Laube also.
And Laube. Oh, they bought 2 Woodhead comps. Oh my God.
I wonder what they all have in common.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like Tyron Tracy, Dylan Laube is like where I'm like, okay, like I don't know if these guys are anything. Maybe I'll just take Kendre Miller. But the dudes who are getting any hype, like what about Deneric Prince Davis? You taking him over Kendre?
Bro, I mean, I feel legit bad for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I probably said some very mean things about Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the internet. He's cost me a lot of money interpersonally, but it feels like this is just like their plan now. Like their plan is Prince has shown us enough. He's the running back 2. Clyde is now the thing is that the role that Clyde will have will be the third like he's the old head. You know, he's Latavius Murray now. He's 27 years old. He's on his second contract, making no money. Like he's there to just not make mistakes. Like if someone needs to pass block, if someone needs to, like if Pacheco can't do it. But Prince is probably like, yeah, like I'm I'm taking Prince a lot now. Like I'm fully off taking Clyde, and I'm taking Prince ahead. I would take Prince over Kendre.
The only thing I would say on that is, from what I understand, Jerick McKinnon is working out, staying in shape, and could be ready if the Chiefs call him.
That honestly feels like the most likely outcome, is we're just back to Jerick McKinnon after debating generic Prince for CH for months.
It's like but like, remember the whole they're saving McKinnon for the playoffs thing? It's like, and then they saved him, and then he played like 4 snaps, and then he had to have core muscle surgery.
Yeah.
Like it's like you can't be relying on a 32-year-old running back, dude.
I also feel like we called his career dead like 6 years ago, and he's still around. So
well, that's because Shanahan said he had dead legs.
I didn't say it. Shanahan said it.
Yeah, that's Kyle Shanahan. That was in 2020 that he had dead legs. 2020.
What an insane career Jerick McKinnon has had.
It really is. Yeah.
He was a college quarterback.
Yeah.
No one knows.
Last thing I'll say on Kendre is just to close the book there, and then we'll get to one more player. I think once he's priced in this range, like you can nitpick Braylon Allen, Deneric Prince over him. At a certain point, it kind of doesn't matter. I still think he's draftable, like 17th, 18th round for sure. But there are some guys that still go after him.
But Braylon Allen's like locked in as the number 2 and has been.
Yeah, no, I definitely prefer Braylon to him. But once you get to the Deneric Prince and CEH, it's like, I don't know. The thing is, Deneric Prince and CH also don't have the out that Kendre has of just like, season's over for the Saints. Let's see what we have in him, even though we don't really like him. Like,
but isn't it still? It's like you crawl through a river of shit to get to week 17, and then you have Kendre Miller behind the Saints offensive line. Like, I'm just like, I'm just in more shit. This is a disaster. I really.
Isn't that the Jonathan Brooks argument? Ducks. Okay. I didn't mean to mention that kid over.
We don't have time. We don't have time for that right now. Davante Adams is someone I wanted to talk about. And Levitan, feel free. You have like 5 minutes for this, or you got to leave?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. He's another guy I want to talk about. I think a very under-discussed player in fantasy this year, even though he goes in the second round of every draft. I just wanted to do the same analysis with him that I did with Cooper Kupp, just to show that I think there's a couple things. I think a lot of people kind of compare what happened to him last year and Kupp last year. I think it was a little bit different. You don't really see a drop-off at all in targets per route run for Davante like you did with Kupp. Also looking at some of the peripheral, like open score and Harmon's charting, they're also there. There's like a tiny drop-off, but he's still 95th percentile and Harmon's success rate over expected. Again, Kupp was in like the 40th percentile there. Open score still has him as solidly above 75 percentile player. So again, I know he's more expensive than Kupp, so that's somewhat priced in, but I do think a drop off last year, just a slightly less significant of one when you look at the underlying stats. Even so, he's down 2 spots. I think there's a chance where Kupp actually flips him. Curious what you think, Levitan, on Davante this year. He's kind of a tricky player with the team situation in Las Vegas.
So the first thing I'd say, every time I'm considering Davante, I start thinking about the best ball playoffs. The biggest delta between implied team total from the regular season and implied team total during the fantasy playoffs belongs to the Raiders. In the fantasy playoffs, they get Atlanta, Jacksonville, New Orleans. So 3 dome/warm weather games against 3 defenses that project to be pretty bad.
Let's go.
The bad thing, of course, is quarterback play and age. It's just hard on full PPR for me to turn down 160 targets.
This guy fucks.
160 targets. On half PPR, I totally get passing on him. We have him ranked 1 spot ahead of Nico Collins. I actually take Nico over Davante. We have him 2 spots ahead of Deebo Samuel. On all this Ayuk news, I've been taking Deebo ahead of Davante Adams, also on Underdog. So, yeah, I don't hate Davante Adams. I feel like a lot of people are just done with him based on the quarterback situation. There are very few guys in the NFL that can actually get 30, 40% of the targets in a game. Davante Adams can do that and break slates doing that, and he has such an awesome playoff schedule. So, yeah, I'm probably a little bit lower on Davante than our rank. Again, we're at 18 on Underdog. We have Nico 19, Deebo 20. I'd probably go both those guys over Davante personally, but, it's really cutting thin there for sure.
Yeah. So for me, the thing I have trouble with is, even though, like, I think in a vacuum, if I'm just trying, if the game was get the most fantasy points from the wide receiver you pick, I think I would like Davante over Chris Olave, over Debo, over Jalen Waddle, even potentially. But that's not the game, right? Like, when you take Davante Adams, you have no idea who his quarterback's going to be. Whereas all those other guys, the quarterback stack I really like the Derek Carr with Olave, the Tua with Waddle, etc. And I know if Waddle has a big spike week in the playoffs, he's likely carrying my quarterback there as well. Whereas if Adams has that huge spike week, like, I have to get a bunch of other things right. And that's not to say you can't win with like an uncorrelated Adams. Obviously you can, but that's like a little bit of a tiebreaker for me in the first 2 rounds, when I know, like, I don't want to waste an 18th round roster spot on like
open
or
open your
AOC.
mind, dude. This is 2 eyes thinking. You need to open your third eye. Automatically, combinatorically knowing who one of your quarterbacks is going to be when you have your first round pick or second round pick is not ideal. It boxes you in, dude.
No,
you need to be painting.
You're not boxed into anything. You're only boxed in if you star Derek Carr and then walk away from your computer. You go, oh no!
I believe that Davante Adams is a great pick. I am continually picking him here. But what I'm saying is that, for example, the Justin Jefferson Davante Adams start, which many people are saying is one of the greatest starts that you can make in a fantasy football draft, that it's absolutely insane that you can have the 2 best wide receivers in the NFL with your first 2 picks. You might be panicking. You might be you're sweating, you're nervous. Who do I take at quarterback? And then you go, oh, I actually can take Trey McBride and Kyler Murray, or I could take Rome Odunze and Caleb Williams, or I could take Marvin Mims and Bo Nix, or I could take Roman Wilson and Justin Fields. It all works out. You don't have to box yourself in, bro.
Yeah, I get that. It just gives you one less out. I get that you can still make a correlated lineup work. I'll get Korean's take on Adams. I want to give Levitan a chance to get out of here. I know he's got a hard out. Levitan, thanks a lot for joining us. Anything at Established Run that you want to tell the people about?
Not really. No, you guys come. You know what? YouTube. The YouTube streets are absolutely flooded these days. You guys are on YouTube, I assume, if you're watching this. Yeah, we're trying extremely hard to win against the kids on YouTube. Support the olds versus the kids on YouTube.
You need to hire someone who will fucking stream for 5 hours at a time, Adam. That's how you combat these children.
Levitan, you got to make those Market Mondays 2 hours, buddy. You gotta
I'm sorry, dude.
God, need more live stuff. Okay, yeah, Strasser pod. Yeah, man, Strasser was on a couple months ago.
I saw Harmon's coming on too this week. Is that right?
I need to get Strasser on to tell me what the fuck is going on. I got no
Dude, just zoom out on the chart. And also, honestly, I know it's a bit, but like, I was actually talking to my friends and I was like, man, Best Ball might be the best store of value for the next like 6 months. It legit, like, if you think you can make like 8% on Best Ball this year, it might actually be the best store of value you could find for your money over the next 6 months, which I never thought I'd say in a million years, but yeah.
Levitan, it's about the community. It's about the community.
Dude, that's how DraftKings and all these other NFT bros got into trouble. Do not say it's about the fucking community. It is always about the money. Do not say it's about the fucking community ever. All right. Appreciate you guys. Great to be here. Good luck.
All right. Thanks, Adam.
All right. Later, guys.
So I think we're going to get registered into a big dog draft.
Oh, yeah.
Train. If you want,
I'll get that going.
I did want to give you a chance to give your Davante Adams take if you had anything to add to that conversation.
Well, not a ton. I mean, we have him rated ADP. He's a player that's like a little. I kind of come down where you do, where I'm like, I would just give me like any kind of quarterback that I can like latch onto, like even myself a story, because I don't think it's even going to be consistent. I think we're going to probably start with Aiden O'Connell, but he might lose the job at some point. But Minshew has not looked good. And like Minshew was good last year, but he's been pretty bad at times. So this is not, it's a situation that could really hold down Adams' talent, which I am a big believer in. So yeah, I'm not, it's just kind of a bummer of a situation, man. Like he goes
it really
there
is
to play with his like college quarterback best friend, and they cut him. Like, I mean, like just outrageous. Like it's just the whole thing is such a bummer. And then they clearly misplayed the offseason with getting a quarterback. I don't think they understood. They didn't have enough urgency in getting a quarterback. They just blew it. So we're just kind of in this half-built team that's like in a, you know, they're like, I guess we'll start in O'Connell. It's just such a bummer, man.
Yeah, we said that the best situation for Justin Fields was the Steelers. I actually think you could throw the Raiders in there.
The Raiders too.
That would have been really fun because I think, say what you want about Russ, I think Minshew and AOC are worse, and Justin Fields would have an even better chance of winning that competition. So I really
that's
wish
kind of what I
ended
mean
up here.
I think so. Like when I talk about like teams not wanting to make Fields, like if you brought in Fields instead of Minshew, I think it would have been like harder for them to do what they assumed they could just sit tight and do and draft a quarterback. You know, like where the fans would assume there's this like fan reset that needed to happen with Fields, where like fans were going to be like, wherever he goes, he's our starter now. And the NFL was like, no, I'm not interested in that. But by sitting out Fields, then you end up potentially in the situation that they find themselves in now. So I mean, obviously I think it was a huge mistake not to get Fields for free.
It does seem like a huge error on their part. I don't know what, I just don't think the Raiders know what they're doing. As we wait for the draft to fill, had Roman Wilson as another guy.
I wanted to talk about Vidal. How is this a prominently Charger show not going to talk about Kimani Vidal?
In honor of the Chargers beats, we just are ignoring.
Karain, we gotta give them some credit. They actually have been doing their jobs as it pertains to the running back room. Sam, was this last Friday or Thursday? You were on a roll, dude. You had like 4 absolute banger tweets.
You did. You had a nice run the other day.
You had a nice run, including the Chargers beat writer not knowing how to properly spell.
That was so good. Yeah.
That was an all-time dunk. That was very, very good.
It turns out when I don't tweet screenshots of like Jalen Naylor or Tyrone Shavers, I actually
I can give you some advice. I can give you some advice on that, which is that athletic screenshots about Jalen Naylor are not going to get the people going.
They're not going to get the people going. No, those are for the true fans. But yeah, that was bearish that Daniel Popper did not know how to spell Kimani Vidal.
It's really not good, but that's not going to stop me because I can't read. My thought process is, as long as Vidal makes the roster, it's really the same bet that it always was, because he was never going to be the starter, right? He was never. What universe were we going to live in where Greg Roman and Harbaugh were going to come in and they were going to say, Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, you guys are fully healthy, go sit your ass on the bench. It was a bet against Dobbins' health, and it was a bet against Edwards' versatility, which we know he does not have. He does not have that versatility. So I was not a big bull on him before, but I am feeling more bullish now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was messing around with this. I agree that it was very unlikely that they were going to be, Kimani Vidal is the week 1 starter. I guess I was hoping for a little bit more like, he's clearly ahead of Isaiah Spiller and Jarrett Patterson, and we haven't even got that yet. That's the scary part, is that I was hoping he was at least sort of more of a clear running back 3. I think there's plenty of time for that to sort itself out, and he's still like the best talent profile. I mean, Jarrett Patterson's been in the NFL for a couple of years, hasn't really gotten any meaningful carries. Isaiah Spiller, same story there, and he's been on the team forever, so he's had his chances. So I do think Vidal will rise to be running back 3, and then it's just a matter of time before Dobbins or Gus gets injured. But it's still bearish that he's just like, he doesn't seem to be flashing enough in practice to be even considered above like some real fringe talents there. Crane, you're on mute.
It's also not a given that he does rise, and I've been playing it like he would rise, and I hope he does, because I have enough to where those teams would really benefit.
Yeah.
I'm at 12%, so I didn't go nuts, but I was definitely targeting him.
See, I'm taking him more now. I think he's a better pick now.
Well,
You
yeah,
can give him
he's cheaper now.
You can get him in the 15th round now.
Yeah. I mean,
What's your exposure blanket on Dobbins since we last met?
it's definitely higher because I took him today in a BBM.
I'm taking him some now.
I'm at 2%,
I'm taking him,
but you know,
I'm taking him some now, knowing he's going to be dead. I'm treating him the same way I treat Zeke, like knowing that he is not going to be giving me points in week 17, but he might give me a couple good spike weeks in like week 7 or whatever.
No, that's exactly what I'm doing. So I took him today with, let's see, I'm going to pull it up. I took him with Trey Benson. And that actually felt pretty fun. My running back room was, my running back room was Jonathan Taylor, Chase Brown, Trey Benson, J.K. Dobbins, Antonio Gibson. So I'm like, do some stuff in the beginning of the season, and then some other dudes will do stuff.
Yeah. I like I'm starting to like Dobbins too, just as like, I think the Cam Akers point that Crane made on last week's show really made me see the vision, is that like at the price he's at, we don't need him to be good. I think I was really discounting him for odds of him like not even making the team. Now that it seems very likely he's going to make the team now, it's just like 150, 160. You don't have to like the player's talent at that point. Like it could be just a bet on touches, which seems crazy for a guy who's been off so many major injuries, but it does seem
that's the thing. We're psyoping ourselves again. So we psyoped ourselves to be out on Dobbins, to be like, he can't possibly be ready for training camp. He's ready for training camp. He's not on the PUP list. But then it's also another exercise in gaslighting to be like, yeah, J.K. Dobbins is totally going to stay healthy for the remainder of the regular season. It goes the other way. Although, did you guys have this thought on the Hall of Fame game, watching Cam Akers come back and play and score the touchdown, being like, well, if Cam Akers came back and scored a touchdown in the preseason off the Achilles, maybe J.K. Dobbins has it in him.
I can definitely see that.
Was that just me? It was just me.
No, yeah, that didn't click for me, but
think about it.
The thing with Dobbins that I'm trying, like, so he had the Achilles, but we have had, there's like, I don't know. This is where I just don't know with, the medical stuff, but I believe you can partially tear your Achilles and then fully tear it, and the partial's way less bad. So I'm like, is it possible that he like partially tore his Achilles? Because he's back like way sooner than we thought. Or like, I don't know, or like there's his Achilles repair went like shockingly well, or like,
I think the timeline for these things are just getting faster, right? Like, the Aaron Rodgers thing, maybe that was a little bit of gaslighting, but Cam Akers came back in the NFL playoffs after tearing his Achilles in July of that season, right?
That's
like,
true, yeah.
May.
Or May, yeah.
It was in OTAs.
But yeah, I do think that like at some point, I don't know. Again, speaking on something that I have no knowledge of, but we did see the trend of these ACL injuries being so bad for NFL players. And then like about a decade ago, the data started to get better on players coming off the ACL. Like maybe the medical advances at some point are going to get to the place where Achilles is not a career ender. But again, we still have, we don't really have data of that yet, right? It's still pretty weak.
Yeah, but I guess the point I'm making is like, I don't know. The medical stuff is always going to be uncertain. We don't have all the information. And then even if I did have all the information, I'd be like, someone tell me what this means, please. So the fact that he is at practice, that he is moving around pretty well, that every player on the Chargers is working through something according to Jim Harbaugh, except Dobbins, right? Like that's encouraging to me that, we talked about how he had so little money that it was basically just a tryout. Well, the tryout seems like it's going pretty well. So I do think we want to, I don't know, just be like, maybe I was wrong about how devastating this injury was.
Yeah.
Because it was supposed to devastate this part of the summer, and it's not.
Sam, how many left do we need to fill for the big dog? I'm about to tweet it.
Oh, I just tweeted something and tagged you guys if you want to repost or tweet your own. Crane's actually the one managing this. What is it? 2 people left?
3 people. We lost one.
Okay, well, let's wait for that to fill. There's a couple, one more riser and faller I wanted to talk through. Roman Wilson, I think another under-discussed guy this summer. He's just steadily fell down, and there was this ankle injury. He was seen walking in a boot. He was actually out of the boot today or yesterday, which is a positive sign. Crane, with Fields seeming a little bit more draftable, are you a little more interested in going after Roman Wilson at this depressed ADP?
I mean, I know the picture was fake, but I would like to see where Ayuk lands on his playing yard.
Well, now people are saying it. So the picture was fake, but now a bunch of people on Twitter, like literally since we started doing the show in the last 90 minutes, have been saying it's happening.
Okay. Well, that would really hurt Wilson.
I mean, that would literally send Roman Wilson to absolute zero.
The reason I think so, in a sense, it doesn't affect Wilson because he wasn't going to play on the outside. It was going to be the slot if it went well. But the problem is that Calvin Austin has had a really good camp and will have some kind of role. Cordarrelle Patterson's going to get involved in very gadgety ways, probably in the backfield, but some in the slot. I don't think that there is a full-time slot receiver on this team if there's Brandon Ayuk and George Pickens on the outside. I think there's going to be like a group of receivers all kind of filling in other routes. So, and they'll run a lot of 12 too. So, or at least enough 12 to where it's going to hurt Roman Wilson as the slot there. So yeah, I think we need Ayuk not to go there. But if that happens, I mean, before the ankle injury, things were sort of turning around for Roman Wilson a little bit, where it was like, oh yeah, he'll probably win the slot receiver role eventually. So I would be somewhat interested in this price if Ayuk goes elsewhere.
Davis, I know you're drafting a ton of Chiefs. Are you drafting Wilson as a bring back at all?
I think I was a little bit early because I actually was kind of woke to him as a prospect. I was like, well, if the NFL is going to treat Ladd McConkey like this, like a guy who barely played but was fast, why can't Roman Wilson be that guy with limited production but was fast and had like some big, like he was good in their like playoff games and stuff, but there was nothing at OTAs. Like he was not a star of minicamp. There was nothing. There was nothing there. There was nothing at training camp. And in fact, the first thing I got from him on training camp was a negative report, and then he hurt his ankle. So yeah, I'm totally out. And if this Ayuk thing is real, it's really bad for him. The Steelers bring back, I mean, it's say the line Bard, it's Jalen Warren. That's the way you do, or Freiermuth.
Yeah.
Yeah. On this Ayuk stuff, I guess while we have time, let's dig into that. I'm curious, starting with Ukraine, if Ayuk goes to the Steelers, what is his closing line ADP in September?
Well, let's see. I think he would fall initially to probably the third round, middle to late third round. Like he'd be in that kind of Stephon Diggs, DJ Moore pocket. Then he probably falls again as, guys from the fourth round come up and start flipping those receivers. So I would say he probably lands at the very end in like the mid fourth. And then Pickens got to fall. Yeah. He's got to go almost to like the sixth. I don't know. I've been behind on Pickens. But maybe
I would have so much George Pickens.
Maybe it's
if George Pickens is going where like Jackson Smith and Jigba goes, I'm like taking on debt to draft.
No, I think it'd be more like Jaden Reed or George.
Okay, yeah, then that's realistic. I mean, I would still have more of him there
because Reed's slipping now, and I think all the receivers fall is partly how I'm doing this.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. That like I think Ayuk versus Michael Pittman is like kind of an interesting decision that people would have at that point in the draft. I think he would wherever Pittman, Zay, that group of wide receivers lands. I would imagine Ayuk lands like just in front of them. I think.
The draft started.
Yeah, we have the 7.
Okay.
Nice. Is there any way I haven't streamed a lot of drafts. Is there any way to make this more visible or I guess this is the standard ship chasing view, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Karain can click the little pop out and it'll just be all the board.
Sweet. All right, so what do you guys think in terms of strategy in these? I have not even. What is the advancement structure? Cayman
It's
strapped
super. It's like the easiest advance rate. Well, the Mastiff is a little bit easier.
Yeah,
I'll pull up the exact advance rate, but it's the opposite of Galaxy Brain is
Okay.
what we are doing.
I'm seeing 1 out of 6, 1 out of 6, 10-seat final. So
2 out of 12 advance from the pod, then 1-6, 1. Yeah.
Yeah, like I broke a tie earlier today. I was on Clocking a Big Dog, and I took Samir White over Jonathan Brooks because I'm like,
yeah.
But I'm not going to make as much of a play at the late season stuff.
All right, fuck, whatever.
I think anchor running back is really good here, right? I guess I'm fine with Bijan or Brees.
Yeah,
Bijan or Brees. What do you guys want?
Bijan.
Probably give me Bijan. You know what? Honestly, has sold me on Bijan over Brees, even though I think it's really close, is the backup quarterback situation in Atlanta. And that sounds dumb, but having Michael Penix there, don't you think that gives the offense just like a little bit of upside still if shit hits the fan with Achilles recovery for either of these quarterbacks?
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, man, like we've all suffered through years of Zach Wilson and a ton of other dudes in the Jets. I don't think it's silly at all to
my tie break
is the backups.
My tie break is not that. It's the defensive quality. The Jets defense is going to be so good that they're just going to be playing in a bunch of these low scoring, low paced games. The Falcons defense is going to be like fine, but it's not going to be like that. But I don't fault that. I think you could be fine with either.
I think they're both. Yeah, I honestly, you can sell me on either way. I imagine, Pat, if you took Truth Serum there, you're taking your guy Brees.
Oh, he didn't even need the
Truth Serum. I was just outvoted 2-1. That's all that.
But do you think it's clear cut or do you think it's close?
I don't think it's clear cut. I don't know. Maybe I do think it's clear cut.
Okay.
I just think he's like Brees sort of sets up as, pretty safe where he's just like, oh yeah, he's obviously the best running back in the league, this year. Like he just is so good last year. So
yeah,
I like Bijan a lot. I think it's a little bit still of a projection and it's somewhat driven by the touches. And that I don't know, it's a little less appealing to me.
Fuck.
I get that.
Really wanted Nico.
All right, so JT, Olave, here. God. JT, Olave, Barkley, Adams. What do you guys like?
I would do Olave or Adams here, I think.
I have Adams higher, but I don't really care.
I'm honestly good with Adams.
Yeah.
It seems like a good format to get Adams exposure, don't you think? Like a little bit less worried about the stacking, maybe.
Well, the truth is that every format is better for Davante Adams because he's the best wide receiver.
Yeah, man.
Like truly, my truth serum is that I really believe that. I think that Davante Adams actually is the best receiver. Like it's just that the job of being a receiver. I think.
I mean, come on, Jefferson's better than Adams, right?
Oh, okay. Jefferson is better. Yes, he's the second best.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a very interesting conversation that you and Gretch had on Ship Chasing about his Garrett Wilson, Justin Jefferson thing.
Yeah.
And that caused me to go dive deeper into the math and become more convinced that I was right. That's always what happens.
That's always
This is a good question for all of everyone listening. What do you guys think Nick Mullins' career YPA is on over 800 attempts? So it's like not nothing. Over 800 attempts, what do people think Nick Mullins' career YPA is? Keeping in mind, his coaches have been Kyle Shanahan, Kevin Stefanski, and Kevin O'Connell.
It's like 7.1.
5.7.
You guys aren't even close, dude. It's like 8.2.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's a scam. That's a Shanahan.
It's a scam, but you think the scam is changing? You think that JJ McCarthy and Sam Darnold are entering into a different scam? No, they are going in. They are actually partaking in the exact same scam.
There's been a couple players that have failed the scam, like Trey Lance, but I generally agree that
Beathard failed.
Continue unabated, most likely.
Yeah, Beathard was 6.5 YPA, which is still like it's better than any season of Sam Darnold's career.
All right, so we got.
No, this is the absolute worst thing about taking Bijan is that Kyren is always the best pick when you come back up in the third round.
Yeah, I agree.
It
doesn't happen like this if you take Brees.
It does. It's literally.
No, Metcalf falls, dude.
Totally.
So we don't even have Kyren.
Yeah, so I think it's Dell.
You're Dell over Diggs. I'm Diggs over Dell.
I'm Diggs. I'm Diggs over Dell.
Okay,
but I don't think it's like a huge gap.
The other move sometimes I do is I take Flowers and then I play for Lamar. Any interest in that?
I'd rather do Kelsey and play for Mahomes.
Well, we have one. See, the problem with Kelsey is we only have one receiver.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That is literally the problem.
Yeah. I like the idea, but
okay.
I almost did that earlier today, and then I didn't for the same reason.
Here's the other thing. Everyone in chat who's talking about the trade, it's like no one real is saying it yet. No one real is saying this. It's all like guys who have NFL in their Twitter name, but they're not affiliated with any journalistic place at all. Like it's just like guys. So
yeah.
Chill out.
Chill out.
I mean,
it does feel a lot. I do think like 2 weeks ago I was dismissing Ayuk trades. I'm not dismissing them anymore. It does feel like there's some smoke to an actual deal.
There's definitely smoke.
Which is insane because I did the take cast the other day with Tej Seth he used to work for Sumer. He's at Penn Gaming now. And we were kind of thinking about it and we were like, next year without Ayuk, if they do trade him, CMC's 29, Kittle's 31, Debo's 29, and they have to pay Purdy that big ass extension. That would be crazy to run into 2025.
Ayuk is good. I don't understand why they can't figure out a deal with him.
Willis did roast me very good. Guy who posted a fake Ayuk Instagram photo telling us to chill out. Guys, I said that I was sorry. I apologized. All right. I thought that was rather big of me, honestly, to apologize.
All right. Here we go. We're on deck.
Let's make Sam take T. Higgins. Let's
do T. Higgins, dude. It's a good pick.
I said this on Davis's stream. I actually take T. Higgins. I hate to break the spell of the bit, but he's just like an 8% guy for me.
Oh no, he got like, come on, man. We had a chance to make Sam take T. Higgins. All right, what do we do?
I think we take a Chiefs wide receiver or Mahomes, or we do Cooper.
Kirk?
I like Christian Kirk a lot.
I like Amari Cooper over Christian Kirk for sure.
Where are you saying?
Okay. I'd be Kirk just for the Ayuk to Cleveland stuff. That's really overthinking it.
No, that's insane.
I think Amari.
All right.
But that is
breaking news. Ayuk to Cleveland confirmed.
That is the trade that I actually think makes it does. It still doesn't make total sense, but it makes the most sense to me because Amari Cooper still in his prime. If the 49ers and Ayuk, if that relationship is just unmendable and they can get back Amari Cooper plus picks, that allows them to still be firmly in contention this year. Like I think Amari could be very good for 1-2 more years. Like that trade is the one that made the most sense to me.
That does make the most sense.
But that actually sends Amari Cooper to San Francisco. So in this universe, we're still good with him in the 4th round. Actually, there's not a universe
where Amari Cooper is really bad at wide receiver 30 pricing.
Dude, yeah, he's still really good, I think.
Yeah.
Always was. Astronaut meme. Won me a dynasty championship last year. Got me through the sprint. Those playoff games, I'll never forget him.
It's strange. Like, I don't know why he's just not a fun click. Like, he's just never.
No,
really been a fun
it's
click.
because he's a Brown, and the Browns are just like the least. They are the least fun, most annoying team in the NFL right now, for sure.
Yeah.
It's also, I think, because he was like so hyped as a prospect and he never hit that like top 5 wide receiver ceiling. That we're like dinging him for like not meeting expectations, even though he's been really good. I think that's a little bit what it is.
I think you're totally right. He never became Justin Jefferson when he was that level of prospect, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of olds here, though. We have a lot of of guys, a lot of.
Keenan Allen, top of the queue. What do we say? Man.
I think.
Go ahead.
Rashee Rice went, so never mind.
Hollywood, Rice, and Worthy all went before we went.
That's hilarious.
I think Richardson is interesting on this team.
Yeah, I do too.
I think we go elite onesie here. I would do Pitts, but Kincaid and Richardson are both good too.
I think I'm Richardson.
Sure. Ship it.
Yeah, I think I'm Richardson over those guys. These are not ranked. It's the font's so small. These are just ADP, not your ranks.
These are just ADP. I don't have the ranks.
Okay. Got it.
That was fine. That fifth round, once all those Chiefs wide receivers get wiped out, you're like, what do you do? I don't even. That's never on my bingo card.
Well, it also, because the 6th is just like all the same guys again.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like,
how does that work?
I don't know. They're just all there again.
Yeah. Somehow no one was taken for 10 picks.
It's like I could take James Cook and Keenan Allen in the 5th round, or I could take James Cook or Keenan Allen at 63. One of the two.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of the thing. It's like the tight ends, the running backs start to go. Like, it's a lot of the same receivers. So I do like going elite onesie there.
Sam,
can I sell you on? Sorry, Davis. Yeah, go ahead.
The people are asking us to be on the left side of the board.
Okay.
The different layout.
Oh,
like this. Okay. Let me remove
the boxes.
Yeah. It's trying to get too fancy. Crane, let me sell you on this take. In this format, is elite tight end less important? Because as I understand it, the thesis of elite tight end is that like in a larger field tournament, if you don't have George Kittle is going to be owned on one of the 500 teams. And if you don't have him and he gets 40 points, it's going to be so hard to win. When there's just 10 teams in the finals, like there's very good odds George Kittle isn't even in the finals, right? So that would be my logic for why it's less important.
It's also really important in getting you through, and it's very, very, very difficult to get through, 1 out of 16 or whatever. It's not as difficult to get through 1 out of 6. So it is less important. I do think if Kittle is here, though, he's kind of a smash, given that Ayuk might get traded.
I agree. I think he's a smash.
I like Kittle a lot. I was just kind of made up that whole point, so he'd fall here. Thanks for falling right into our
trap. Oh my god.
That was good content.
Davis taught you well.
I disagree with not wanting to have an elite tight end in any format, like literally like three-man lobbies. Like I want to have the best tight end because tight end differentiating points are just like, matters for week 17. But guess what? Mark Andrews is also going to score like 100 more points than Noah Fant in the regular season too. Like they're just going to produce at a really high level.
Yeah, and I mean this technically like isn't elite tight end, right? Like we got him in the 6th, so this isn't. Therefore, Kittle is not elite. And
all right, Hayden Winks, I know you're in the chat. Chime in. Is this elite tight
end? It's not elite
not?
Tight end, dude.
There
would have been elite tight end.
There are only two, in my opinion. There are only 2 elite tight ends, Kelsey and Andrews, and then everyone else is just kind of varying degrees of tilting.
Yeah.
I've been workshopping this like take that is historically like one of the worst takes if you look at the data, but
Go on.
Say more.
The tight ends 7. The tight end 7 to like 12 this year, which includes like Kittle, Bowers, Njoku, Ferguson. I don't really love Evan Ingram, but kind of everyone else in that group, I think is like just as likely to produce as an elite tight end as a couple of the guys that go in front of them. Just as likely is like a controversial way.
Yeah, this is historically like one of the worst,
the
takes
biggest
ever.
trap in fantasy.
Like literally,
football.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. It's amazing how much of a trap it
It's
is.
wild.
But I do think like Gretsch brings up the point of just there being a lot deeper of elite tight end profiles, and I agree with him there. But I think I just disagree with him on like where to cut it off. Or I'd have to talk to Gretsch. Maybe we don't disagree, but like the run David Njoku went on to end the season last year was like better than Trey McBride played down the stretch, both from like targets per route run and like fantasy points. And the market is basically saying like, we don't care at all because it was Joe Flacco. Like it's like 40. We're giving all the credit to David Njoku's stretch run to like 40-year-old Joe Flacco who's on the couch. Like I don't get why we're not giving David Njoku like any credit for that elite stretch run he had last year. But I don't know.
I mean, because it came with a different quarterback. Then they traded for Judy, and also like Njoku's such a known quantity, it's a little tougher to get excited about him.
But don't you think like tight ends, like their career paths, like I get if it's a wide receiver,
yeah, Crane,
if it's a
that's
wide
like your
receiver,
Crane, that's like your big thing. It's like tight ends are.
I know.
Weird.
No, I'm not like out on Njoku, but I think compared to McBride, he's entering his 3rd season after a massive second-year breakout. The hope is that he is like the tight end for a decade after this. Like that's when you're taking McBride, you're really hoping that that's what's going to happen, that he's going to emerge as the next Andrews, the next, Kelsey, or like Zach Ertz maybe is a little less crazy, but one of these guys that we take year in, year out at the very top. And I definitely think McBride has a much better chance of that, just given the context around what he did.
All right, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, we need to see the cue, buddy.
Sorry.
Oh boy.
I didn't want you guys to have to see this.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's always it's just miserable.
Who are the wide receivers?
They don't have those here.
You know who they are.
And you don't want.
Oh, Curtis Samuel went. I think we take a running back. Let's not get bullied into.
What about James Conner or Montgomery?
Connor or Connor. I forgot that.
Probably Connor for this format. Like Montgomery, like the contingent stuff's a little better, but I think I'd be Connor here.
Yeah, I'm Connor.
Okay.
Yeah, the Richardson pick was a mistake because
should have gone receiver.
Should have got a receiver because we could have taken Kyler Murray there.
Yeah. Also, Stroud sitting right here with Diggs. We just passed on him.
Well, that's
Yeah, the thing I like about Richardson is that at least it sets us up for wide receiver picks in the window where normally would be taking like running backs or quarterbacks. So
it does, but I still like to get 4. And we have 3.
Yes, I agree. It gets to a point where like when Curtis Samuel goes, I'm not getting bullied into just like a bad pick just because it's a wide receiver. Like I know that's always my goal to get 4 through 7, but
yeah. And I mean the Kittle pick, I have no regrets about that.
Richardson's maybe the one that we wish we took.
Yeah, you want to have Keenan. You want to have Keenan.
Yeah, Keenan would have been a better pick, I think.
Keenan Stroud versus Richardson Connor.
Keenan Stroud.
You want Keenan Stroud.
Yeah.
Or Keenan Kyler if you're
willing. DeAndre Hopkins.
Kyler went ahead, so it doesn't matter.
DeAndre Hopkins at pick 84 just seems bad to me.
I'm out of the injured 32-year-old wide receiver business.
I'm pretty sure I got Hopkins at pick 84 like just in May. Just before he was totally healthy. People just weren't into it.
We shit on DraftKings drafters, but for some reason they're way better at like reacting to negative news than Underdog drafters are sometimes. And maybe it's that.
Well, imagine clicking.
ADP.
It's the O, dude. It's the big red. It's the big red O. It's just impossible to click on. It's too scary.
All right, Crane, can we see the board here again?
I think we go running back again. Zamir or Brooks would be my guys.
Chase Brown.
It's a little too early. Little too early.
I like Zamir for I think like the team bet on Las Vegas is like kind of good in this format.
Actually, I think Zamir and Adams. Well, I don't know.
I think we're just kind of like in this type of format where we don't need like the crazy weekly ceiling. We're just kind of hoping that like Las Vegas isn't like a shit show, right?
Yeah. They're willing to like. If they're in shootouts, they don't give up. You know, they're sometimes able to punch in touchdowns with Samir. Like they're willing
Samir's
to put
my
up
vote. What do you guys think?
I like Samir.
I don't really like Samir, but it's fine.
Is there anyone else do?
You really just would be surprised how much these like 3 condom teams do well in these formats. Like it's annoying, but it is true. I think Jonathan Brooks is a terrible pick in this format. Actually,
I kind of do.
Okay.
I think Jonathan Brooks might just be a bad pick. Actually, I might just be moving to Jonathan Brooks being a bad pick where he's going.
I'm pretty.
Is that anti-woke of me?
It is. It like definitionally is. Yeah.
Okay.
I think large field stuff. He's still pretty good.
He's great. Large field stuff.
Where are you? So Crane, where are you at then? Just like Panthers structurally, are you just like leaving the light on for them to be the 21st best offense?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, because Canales is like, dude, Baker Mayfield was like probably worse than Bryce Young was with the Panthers the year before he was with Canales. He was horrendous when he was with the Panthers. I think there's something to Canales. He's going to be, definitely run first, and it's going to be a conservative offense in certain ways, but I think it will be functional. Yeah, I'm not like all in on the Panthers or anything by any means.
I just think too, it's underrated how bad of a hand Bryce Young was given last year, and let's decide what we're picking, and then I'll continue.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think about going to receiver? Like, we could do Shaheed or
Shaheed is every best ball virgin's shelter in a storm when they've been buried by the Avalanche. They're like, they just got to convince themselves of some ceiling. They got the elite onesie.
The other move would be to go running back, and there is still a chosen one.
No, I think we take a wide receiver.
I think we go. I would throw out.
There goes
Dobbs
Chase Brown.
here.
Okay.
I would go Dobbs.
Yeah, I would go
Dobbs or Wicks. Probably Dobbs though.
Yeah, I think Dobbs running consistently with the ones and Wicks getting like 6 snaps with the ones has me leaning Dobbs.
Yeah, yeah.
So I did. Of course, I did some deep diving on that because I knew it wasn't representative of what I've been reading from Packers training camp, and you best believe, I would imagine I'm more well read on the Packers. Like, I know more about the Packers like backup safety battle than any other Packers fan because I just am. Crane, I've been watching Packers.com video content because it's not transcribed anywhere.
Oh my God, dude.
Just to see if anything interesting has been said about Wicks.
Dude, I know it's a bit, but I mean this. Ball.
Yeah. Well, and this is what I will say is that Packers family night is not representative of what they've been practicing for the last 2 weeks.
All right.
And maybe that is how they plan on playing in week 1, and Wicks really will run 30% of the snaps or whatever. But I would really bet against it. I think that was just kind of
who's it coming? Who's pocket or his snaps coming out of?
Watson is going to be who it is because they just can't trust him to play. I think Watson probably is the best out of all of them. He probably is the best, but he's got no reliability. He's been so unavailable in his career in Green Bay.
Any thoughts on the safety battle from your Packers guy?
No, but they have a really interesting guy named Keyshawn Nixon who it's this very cool story. He was basically just a kick returner, and he's such a good kick returner. They were like, Keyshawn Nixon, can you please learn ball? And he's like a starter on defense now, which is kind of, it's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
All right, let me get the other tab up. So this is where I would just go ahead and do what we need to do.
with whomst?
I don't know why circling it feels less likely to get a doing it. It does.
Yeah, Corinne, I couldn't agree more.
What about where are you, Sam? Because I mean, there's the other option by ADP. We would go AD Mitchell.
Yeah,
but I've actually been flipping it.
Yeah, Judy would be the other one I'd throw. I don't like AD Mitchell. I think it's Judy or go all the way down to Downs for me.
Downs.
I think we just get Downs.
Downs.
Because you're risking it a little bit by the ADP. Our next pick is like 127. He's like 131. So he should be there, but he might not be there. And he's just like such a smash with what we did in the stack.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, I think like if it was up to me personally, I might try to take the risk. But yeah, fucking $500 draft. I do think he's like the best player if ADP was efficient.
Yeah. And then if like Mitchell falls to you, you can take him, or you can do other stuff.
Yeah.
I personally would love to have AD Mitchell in a $500 big dog, but I do no ball. I mean, as evidenced by watching Packers.com videos about Dontavian Wicks earning trust from Jordan Love in the red zone.
But all these receivers are like the same. Like Downs should, in my opinion, just like go here. So I'm just like, I'm taking him. Then if I get AD, whatever.
I agree with that.
It's just insane how miserable you feel when you don't have 4 wide receivers through 5 picks.
It's rough.
It's just crazy.
It does kind of suck, but I honestly think when we go back and we look at this tier of wide receivers like Josh Palmer, Cortland Sutton, Shaheed, Dobbs, Wicks, Downs, I think there's going to be some hits in here. Like I don't agree with it that like if you're taking wide receivers in this range over running backs, like you're losing. Like I think there's some kind of intriguing wide receivers in this range.
Yeah. There's some intriguing guys, and like the fact that you can correlate with like Richardson, Downs, or you can go Allen and get Samuel and Shakir, or, whatever. There's ways to like, compound that win by stacking.
Yeah.
So I think that like builds like this, you're just like, I really need to be right about Anthony Richardson, and he needs to bring along Josh Downs too. But I mean, I think it's a smart way to do it. Like the most comfy way is to not need Josh Downs at, pick 114.
Yeah.
And this is setting up great to be a Justin Fields team.
Oh, God.
That's true.
I don't know about that.
All right. So Goddard is an ADP faller.
Singletary is like a big
faller. Yeah.
One of these two teams is going to take Singletary for sure.
We're probably running back or Goddard here, I would say. Like the next receivers are like Mike Williams, Dotson, Leggett. Like it's kind of over.
Always love my my 5th-year redshirt wide receiver prospect to have to get an MRI on their foot in training camp. That's
Not
just
ideal.
always, it's always what you want.
Yeah, I'm kind of a Mike Williams guy. A Mike Williams guy. I also don't mind Freiermuth here.
Definitely not. I'd do Freiermuth. Definitely not Mike Williams.
Okay. Schultz is also here. We have the Texan.
Dowdle.
Dowdle actually would be who I would take, but
I mean, let's live a little, guys.
Yeah, let's live a little.
We have the running back room where Dowdle doesn't need to be the starter right away.
Yeah.
Oh no! Are we in bye week jail already? Someone already commented on bye weeks.
What bye week jail are we?
Oh, were we about to double up at tight end bye weeks? No, we weren't. People they're so committed to the bye week bro bit.
Oh, we were
about to be in jail at tight end
at Freiermuth.
Okay. Thank you, Jared. Thank you. Shout out to Jared.
Are we done at running back? I think we could tack on a fifth.
I think tack on a fifth.
We could be done. If Zamir White was Chase Brown, we could for sure be done. But it's fine. Name something best ball streamers like to say more than we could be done at running back.
I was just thinking that. I need Pete's best ball video to be like, I'm pretty sure I could be done at running back now if I want to. If I want to, I could tack on another, but if I want, I could be done.
It's like, okay, yeah, definitely. We're done at running back, but we all know you're taking Braylon Allen in the 15th
We're taking
round, so
Braylon Allen, but we could be done.
Crane, what a heel turn for you on Braylon Allen from being like the biggest Izzy Abanikanda guy to now being like Braylon Allen, dude, he's a smash.
Look, Davis, I've done this to you twice. The heel turn, the ultimate heel turn is that not only do I completely go in on the guy I was at him before, but then I pick him for our ADP riser game before you think to. I did it with Allen and Chase Brown.
Really unbelievable stuff. Getting owned.
You're gonna turn heel. You gotta go full heel.
You gotta go full bore. That's a good one. Who's your favorite round 18 click du jour? Do you like Allen or Estime more? Like, what makes you feel more fun?
I still like Allen. It's just just a clean handcuff as opposed to Estime.
It's just so clean. Yeah, I agree.
I like Estime just for a little. I like Estime just for a little bit of the like. It's then the season. Denver's 4-12, and they just want to see what they have in younger players. And Javante's contract expires after the season. Like whereas with like, I still think that Estime's odds of winning the job straight up are like pretty low, but they're like infinitely higher than Braylon Allen's.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Allen can't win the job with a healthy Breeze, so
it's literally impossible.
Yeah.
But he could get goal line stuff.
He could get some goal line stuff, yeah.
I mean, you tried telling Braylon Allen no.
We talked the Frymouth thing. We got the bye week issue.
I don't want this to be a quarterback team or a 3 tight end team, so I think we just can't take him.
Yeah.
What else is there at wide receiver?
There's a wide. I'm actually going to wait. Yeah. So the wide receiver I would float is Pearsall.
Yeah,
look, I was
just for vibes based at all. I think we got to.
Dude, this is the Ayuk gets traded to Cleveland for Amari Cooper team.
We got Kittle. Yeah, I mean this team. Plus, like we need a wide receiver hit on this team. So Pearsall is kind of a smash.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about our wide receivers.
But honestly, if like Pearsall, like I think all these guys could be big risers. Like if we get to the preseason and Dobbs is just 80% of the snaps with Jordan Love, he's going to go up around. If Ayuk gets traded, Pearsall's going to go to at least here, probably higher, right? Like I think this could end up looking good by close. Like, what are the odds Ayuk gets traded now? Like, it feels like, am I crazy to say it feels like 50-50 at this point?
It feels like that to me. Maybe even a little higher. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like getting fooled by the internet's hype, but
like every account on Twitter who like knows someone around an NFL team is tweeting that Ayuk is getting traded to the Steelers.
Well, like Daniel Raz this morning shared it was like I forget who it was. It was some beat reporter was like, I've been basically Matt Mayoka said, I've stated for a while that I don't see any scenario in which the 49ers would trade him. Now I believe it's a legitimate option.
And he's
in a lot of ways
for the 49ers for like a billion years. Around the team forever.
I mean, that's pretty meaningful when people who are like, I said this was a definite no, and now I don't think that. Something changed. Yeah.
Also, Royce Freeman went to the injury tent today, so not to hate on Royce Freeman.
Tucker Kraft off the pup list. That's like low key. Low key, this is a big Tucker Kraft show, so
not great for Musgrave.
Could be bad for Wicks too.
It's bad for the wide receivers if they're.
Yeah, we don't want 12.
Green Bay, like 4 weeks 1 through 5, everyone's gonna freak out. Like, why do we draft all these guys so high? Like, no one's emerging.
That's so
in the playoffs, they're gonna some of them, like one of them is gonna win you the league. That's how it's gonna play out. I don't know what it's gonna be, but that's what's gonna happen.
They don't know who it's gonna be.
Yeah, no, they don't.
All right, let's get back to the draft here.
I mean, I know you guys hate Dotson, but just with this wide receiver room, he's gone. Okay, it doesn't matter.
There's a much better correlated pick for us to make.
Yeah.
Deshaun.
No. Well, yeah, but a shorter, shiftier, former Nebraska running back, elite targets per route run. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Are you not woke enough to have the schedule memorized? We could
I
take.
think if we don't get Deshaun, I think we're gonna get boxed out of like a good.
Well, we could take
right?
Kirk with Bijan, and we could then take Deshaun with.
I like Kirk. I like Kirk.
I like
Do
the
we wanna-
Deshaun Amari correlation a little better.
Let's do Deshaun. Deshaun
Okay.
is, yeah.
We could also try to push it in. Who you want to Jaleel?
Is this bye week hell if we do this? No, it's not.
No.
Okay.
Oops. Oh, I fucked it up. Oh shit!
That's fine. That's fine.
That's actually.
fine.
I
Yeah,
went to go look
Hawkinson-
what the bye week was, and I clicked the star.
No,
oh my
it's
god,
fine.
guys!
Hawkinson.
I'm sorry.
Hawkinson. That's so funny.
Oh fuck!
Hawkinson will be back by week 9, and I like him with elite tight end anyway.
Yeah.
That could have been bad. That could have been
That could have been so bad.
That could have been terrible. But so shout out.
I literally
shout out to-
almost passed out there. I was like, my light flashed before my eyes trying to click that star. Again. I didn't get it. I didn't get
No,
it.
here's why this was
too busy
really
circling
smart.
it. You were too
I
busy
was too
circling.
busy. That's why you circle, man. All
I
right,
think
I'm gonna
that's
get these guys in the queue.
totally fine pick.
So 10 and 12. Yeah, we're good.
Maybe put Justin Fields in the queue just to kind of monitor.
I don't think he needs, after what I just did, he doesn't need to be in the queue. The queue needs to be 15.
I mean, honestly, now that we've passed round 13, I think we are firmly in the field zone for my risk tolerance personally. But I get it.
I don't really get. I like drafting Fields now. I think in this format, like.
Says Hawkins actually sit on this team.
Oh, Justin Fields already went. Let's go. Thank God.
Okay. Here's the deal. Here's the deal, Sam. When it's easier to advance, you actually should be embracing more variance. You actually should be like, if it's you don't have to have Puka and Kyron and George Pickens 60 burger and Amari 60 burger to advance. You actually should be like doing weirder shit. You should have weirder combos.
No, winning your league becomes more important because there's like less. You don't need to hit the nuts late season, so just like getting to the dance makes more of an impact.
I think we're both kind of saying the same thing.
I think what Davis is saying is that it's easier to advance in 15 and 16, so I can see
Correct.
the argument for that of like. But I still think I side with Crane that
Yeah.
I think Justin Fields is like a large. I feel like I've said this 5 times, but he's a large field play to me.
All right,
I think we
guys.
got to go Deshaun here, right?
Look at that. I mean, Deshaun Watson falls, so it's like
That's why
it's a
you
pretty
push.
good thing I'm on, right?
That's why you push quarterback.
should I click here to check his bye week?
Yeah, that's the bye week button.
He's by week 10.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, I like that a lot.
That worked out pretty well, guys.
I just think the Deshaun Amari ceiling is really fun when Deshaun goes that late.
Oh, all right. I gotta tell a story about Vivian. This is a pact that we made on chip chasing. We got to talk about our daughters when we draft Deshaun Watson.
What you got?
Well, she loves when I pretend to drop her. So I get her like this, and then I like go like this, but I like look. We're like looking each other in the eyes, and I go like like I actually tried. She loves it. She cracks up. She thinks it's the funniest shit ever. And then she like kind of kicks her legs. If I don't do it for a while, she'll like kick her legs to make me do it again.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. My niece would hate that. She's not about the roughhouse life. The nephews would be into it. But she would be like, "No, I'm out. No chance." I bench pressed her. We were taking Christmas family pictures, and I was like, "Come here." And she was shoulder pressing her over my head. She was like, "Absolutely not. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to me." You guys want to do a third quarterback or a third tight end, or are we just done?
I think we're good at quarterback.
Yeah, I'd consider like 18th round tight end. I think quarterback, I'm pretty good with being done.
Yeah, I think an 18th round tight end is totally fine. We also don't have like any other stacks set up. So there's no, I mean, like literally like our other stack is like Aiden O'Connell or something.
No,
Yeah,
thank
seems-
you.
Our running backs
that
don't
seems
have
bad.
anything. Yeah.
We probably need, like, I think 2 wide receivers in the next 3 rounds is probably smart. Just given that we got off to a slow start, like we don't want to be getting into the total zeros at wide receiver, I don't think. Which
I
maybe we
agree.
already are, but
There are no total zeros here.
So receivers that you guys like here. I would also note Antonio Gibson, Audric Estime at running back. Jonnu Smith's also here, which is
These wide receivers. Once Wandale goes and Mims
it's
goes,
pretty gross.
yeah.
Honestly, I'd be fine with Jonnu.
No, I think we take Estime
Estime? Okay.
or Gibson. I like Gibson. The beats. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're both kind of the same. The beats seem to be optimistic about Gibson basically being who Antonio Gibson has been just on the Patriots.
And you get the contingent value. Yeah, I like Gibson, but where
yeah, I'd probably lean Gibson, but
do you have a wide receiver that you really like here or not?
No.
Okay.
Really feels like one of the craziest things in fantasy football to me that DeMarcus Robinson and DJ Shark are now like, people are like coveting them. People are like, oh man.
Dude, Jordan Whittington is making noise. Like Robinson might lose that job over the course of the year.
I think it's Jover before it started, you know? Like the second that Jordan Rodriguez starts writing about how much Jordan Whittington is relishing loving run blocking, it's done.
It's over, yeah.
Over for DeMarcus Robinson. There's no if DeMarcus Robinson is going to go out there, or if Whittington's going to go out there and be Gabe Davis, like it's done. It's over.
Yeah.
I took Jordan Whittington on my Bulldog, the $75 single entry.
I mean, I don't mind that at all. I've taken Jordan Whittington with Stafford. It was probably like a slow puppy or something, but I've done it. I think it's totally fine.
The Rams do not love DeMarcus Robinson. See, people they invent these narratives like, oh, the Rams love DeMarcus Robinson. He's making like no money and he played better than Tutu Atwell. Like, congratulations to him.
Yeah, I mean, he surprised expectations down the stretch. I think they appreciate his run blocking. They use him around the goal line. They don't like dislike him, but I don't. If a rookie wide receiver starts making noise, like DeMarcus Robinson is not going to.
I just feel like people somehow mind wipe themselves from the fact that he played for 6 years with Mahomes and a year with Lamar and a year with Stafford, and they only ever realized he was a real player 6 weeks ago. Like, it's just like, what? This is like how Corain thought Rico Dowdle was a second-year player. He's been in the NFL since 2019.
Yeah, but he wasn't playing. He wasn't Mahomes' number one receiver, dude. Cut me some slack.
You know what? I think Zach Meyer is right. It's because people are so spooked from the Puka Kyron stuff. They're like, anyone on the ramp, I got to draft Davis Allen because Sean McVay likes him. Whittington would be the Puka.
Yeah, it's just strange to me.
It is strange. The shark stuff. I mean, look, we did that on the show last week. We don't have to get into it, but that's
all right. Sam, I apologize for what's about to happen. Because we need a receiver here, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking one of the Giants guys.
No, there's one. The Giants guys will be there with their next pick. There's one man for the job here.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the other thing with the big dog, you got to get your guys. You can't just sit around and wait for dudes to come to you. If there's a receiver you think perfectly fits the team, then you should just probably grab him.
Someone might call him cromulent.
So you got to search for him. You got to search for him.
Short King 70.
Oh, he's only. You know what? It's only like 12 picks ahead of ADP.
I was gonna say, like we have now Fonzie has his skis on. You know, like you can't get Greg Dortch in the 18th round anymore.
Sam, how much do you hate this? Are you all right with this?
I would like do Luke McCaffrey over him, but
Live a little.
I hate this so much.
I apologize ahead of time.
Anytime you can take like a 5'6", like career 14% targets per outrun player, you got it.
Buddy,
You gotta do it.
he just went after Andrei Iosivas and Troy Franklin. That's the economy that you are in right now.
I just knew there's like 100% chance that was happening, you know?
Yeah. Oh man. We'll recover. Every team, you're allowed to have more dead roster spots in these types of formats, so that's okay.
I mean, he's a starter, man. This dude is a starting receiver.
Isn't Luke McCaffrey and is Greg Dortch?
I don't know.
Christian
I actually
McCaffrey's
don't
brother?
know for sure. I think he is, but also Luke McCaffrey is a converted quarterback. Like, is he anything? This dude, Dortch. I mean, I know. Okay, the numbers.
The numbers on Dortch, just like I just feel like we've like memory hold him into this like amazing target earner. Like I don't know where that.
I don't
comes
listen,
from.
man.
No, it's not a memory hole. It's just he is an amazing target earner when he's on the field, but he just doesn't get on. He just doesn't get on the field.
No, like targets per outrun literally accounts for when you're on the field, and like he's not.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I really don't.
Yeah,
I promise
Sam,
you.
But Sam, shut up.
I'm workshopping this argument that I don't believe in at all, but
oh man.
Yeah.
Dortch was standing right next to Kyler in their team photo. What more do I have to say?
I mean, you could say a few more things if you wanted.
I just think it's pretty obvious. He's the starting slot wide receiver for like the 11th best passing offense in the NFL. Yeah. Probably a lot better of a passing offense than the Washington Commanders.
I think Davis, as we've established, ball. Like to me, Dortch is a ball guy where like I just like having seen him out there, I'm like, I just don't believe that these numbers can be real. Like, I don't know if it's like I haven't done the subset of the games where he started.
That's the thing.
It feels to me like he's running empty routes when he's not starting or something. It's lowering his targets per run.
Roman Wilson seems okay.
What about Juwan Johnson?
I was going to say Juwan.
Get that third tight end taken care of that we talked about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Juwan.
So the thing, Crane, that you're correctly pointing out is that it's hard to parse out games where like Dortch came in as the starter. Dortch came in because there were like someone got injured in the game, like all that stuff. It's all hard to parse out. But if you just do like the very basic stuff of just sorting by games where he's played over 65% of the snaps, he averages like over like 11.5 PPR points per game in those.
Yeah, I'm trying to find Greg Dortch's highest PPR finish ever right now.
Is it 11.75?
No, it's probably like I bet it's probably like 17.3 or something.
It's actually, so he had 22 and 19 in 2022, also 17 and 16. So you guys definitely are right that there's something to him having like a target ceiling, even though the per route stuff show him.
I think it's because like he gets out there.
But those were dog shit Cardinals wide receivers, like absolute garbage out there with him. Like, come on, Rondale Moore is like playing with the fourth. Like he's not even catching passes from Michael Penix in Falcons camp.
Dude, you want to talk about
that is such a funny way to put it.
It literally like he's literally the Athletic was like, yeah, so kind of the first team and the second team practice on a higher field, and then everyone else goes down to a literal lower field. You're literally beneath everyone else. And they were like, yeah, Rondale's walking down to the backup field. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, man. All right.
Let's
figure out our last pick here.
Couple names to throw out. Odell for the Cleveland, Miami stuff.
All right. Yep.
Vito.
Don't have to type that one in. Go ahead.
Darius Slayton for the Colts
Yeah.
stuff.
Slayton.
I don't love it. He's now. I mean, he's
What
on the
about
bench
Hyatt?
again. He's already
Hyatt's
went.
gone.
Hyatt gone.
Ray McLeod, I guess.
Absolutely not.
What about
Bo
Roman
Melton.
Wilson? Roman Wilson just is a bet on him
Is he
not
still
going to the
around?
Steelers. Yeah, he's right here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't realize he was still going to be here. I think he's the best pick if he doesn't get sniped.
I don't mind the Slayton pick though.
Yeah, Slayton's probably
I
better.
mean,
for
I was
this
just
team.
thinking that like I think week
Tillman.
17 correlation
Tillman.
is still
Tillman?
somewhat.
Tillman, Alec Pierce. Do you guys, if you guys,
is Elijah Moore still there?
yeah,
I
he's
have
not
Tillman
recovered
over
from-
Moore, I
he's not
think.
recovered from his concussion yet.
I think Cedric Tillman over Roman Wilson is just like over.
What about Slayton versus Wilson?
I'd probably go Roman Wilson if you guys are good with that.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it just seems.
All right.
I mean, like I'm not really into Roman Wilson as a prospect or whatever, but at some point, like early round 3 rookie in the 18th round, just like I don't want to overthink it that much.
We also kind of played like we kind of got there's a win in here with the Ayuk trade. Either we got 18th round Roman Wilson or we got Kittle and Pearsall.
Yeah.
So no matter what, the Ayuk trade's going to work out.
Ship it. All right. I mean, that wasn't our best team, but also was not our worst. It is so crazy when you do that double elite onesie, how thin you get at wide receiver. You're just like, shit, man, I got nothing.
Yeah. I think we dug out really well, though. I mean, Dobbs is like clear starter. Downs is a good player, correlated. Pearsall could be a huge hit with the Ayuk trade.
Pearsall is at least a sexy 0, whereas Roman Wilson is an ugly 0. So
right,
it's just like
so we took both.
We did both. Actually, that was probably bad. Wilson and Pearsall probably are like in this like weird matrix of time we're living in are probably negatively correlated.
No, they are negatively correlated, but we got such a cheap price on Wilson. It's like so either way we win. Either way we win, and it's a format where you just got to you got to get through smaller pots. It's not like the Mastiff where you're just trying to like advance no matter what, but it's still
right.
Yeah. I think like also 3 wide receivers through 7 or whatever isn't great, but there's a difference when you do it and you get 3 wide receivers in the first 4 rounds versus if you get like 1 in 3, 1 in 6, and 1 in 7. Like you're really screwed there. You got Davante Adams, Stephon Diggs, and Amari Cooper. If those guys hit, we should be all right.
All right. Here I'll check out the team here. So we got Anthony Richardson, Deshaun Watson, Bijan Robinson, James Conner, Zamir White, Rico Dowdle, Antonio Gibson, Davante Adams, Stephon Diggs, Amari Cooper, Romeo Dobbs, Josh Downs, Ricky Pearsall.
Yes, wide receiver room.
Greg Dortch, though, and Roman Wilson.
Let me tell you, that room needed a Xavier Leggett. We needed
I think Ricky Pearsall is hopefully
Ricky Pearsall is hopefully the Leggett.
Yeah.
If Ayuk gets traded. And if he doesn't get traded, Roman Wilson. George Kittle, T.J. Hawkinson, Juwan Johnson. Thoughts, guys?
I like it quite a bit. Obviously, wide receivers a little thinner than would want to play it. But if I could take one thing back, I think we pass on Richardson. We grab like
Keenan.
Yeah, Keenan or whoever, and then we get CJ Stroud in like the 70s. But
yeah,
I still like it.
The team it looks better with AD Mitchell and Downs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it just if it worked out,
yeah. But I like taking Downs first, and then you play to get Mitchell.
I agree because this theoretically should be a more plugged in room that knows about AD Mitchell being behind Alec Pierce right now. Like even though that's not the way that ADP has it.
Downs was not coming back to us in this room. There's no chance. Yeah,
I think you're right.
Yeah, a bunch of people who subscribe to Stealing Signals and know about the Chris Ballard quotes about Downs.
Yeah, the TJ Hawkinson pick was really the genius pick.
I mean, I think it really ties the room together. I was just pure incompetence, but hey, sometimes
pure incompetence is what you need to succeed. A lot of American history proves that.
pure confidence. That's gonna be my separating factor in this tournament.
It's going to be the name of my premium Substack after this wins.
All right, guys, that was fun. In terms of ADP chasing stuff, we will be back next Monday. I'm actually going to be out, and I think tentatively Gretch is stepping in with the two of you guys. So,
but also maybe not. So it might.
Yeah,
just
but
be
also
me
maybe
for him.
not. He gave me like the most confusing, like maybe I'll do it answer, but we'll see on that one. Then we have Rotopat the week after that, so look forward to that one. That should be a lot of fun.
God, I don't even know what he's gonna think about this program. Like, if you showed him that Colts infographic, I don't know.
We had him on last year, and he was great. But yeah, it's always good. I really like, and we should have done more of this last year or this year, like getting people who are not like fully best ball brained, like getting their opinions is actually like very refreshing and helps like you come up to, out of the water to breathe a little bit. So it's going to be really good to get his takes. He actually called the Cooper Kupp target cliff last year very accurately. So we'll see if he's got,
he did.
Yeah, he called that one. But anyways, that's all.
Well, are we not doing risers?
What do you mean?
Our game?
Are you not doing the
shit.
literal game of the show?
What do you
I thought you meant like doing risers, like we hadn't done it yet. Like ADP risers. Yeah. Let's do our game.
I need to come up with it.
Okay, I'll go first. Justin Fields.
Damn it.
Justin Fields. I'll take Justin Fields as an ADP riser.
That's my move.
that
one's gonna bounce around.
So obviously I'm cheating a little bit, but how high do you think he actually gets? I think without a definitive thing one way or the other, he gets up to like Kirk Cousins-ish. And if they say he's starting, the QB8 people from the big board are going to get there.
If he's going to be undraftable if he's declared to start.
If the QB8 people from the big board get there, I'm actually just retiring.
I was going to say that might be enough for me to just do something else, because anything that's that provably wrong to get there, I might be like, you know what, man? Maybe I would be a good insurance salesman.
Even I was out on that. That was outrageous.
That was outrageous.
Absurd. Oh my god!
I just took Justin Fields and another slow puppy right now as I'm talking to you guys.
All right, I got one. I'm swinging for upside on these picks this year. Not playing it safe. Give me Ricky Pearsall. Brandon Ayuk gets traded.
That's a great one.
Brandon Ayuk gets traded. He goes in the late 90s.
Oh, you guys are just picking I shouldn't have brought this up. I gave you two. I just would have won by you not picking good picks. Yeah. And I didn't really have one. So give me a sec. All right. I'll say
I'll give you one if you don't have one.
I'll go Cooper Kupp.
Oh, that's a good one.
Just to trigger me.
Off this Puka week to week stuff. Maybe we see Kupp up in the mid-second by the end.
I like that.
I think that's gonna happen.
Who was your other? Now I'm curious.
Rico Dowdle. Once all this stuff coming out about him looking good at camp and
Royce Freeman's injured.
Oh, that is a good one.
Royce Freeman, yeah, Dowdle seems like a good one.
Nice.
All right. Yeah, closing the show out. Davis, anything you want to tell the people about?
Yeah, big stream tomorrow. All the BBM winners are coming on. Herzig, Liam, Pat, Fareed. Pretty sick, honestly, that it worked out. I really thought cool. I was just like someone's not going to be available or like something, but it was very cool. So I'm pretty hyped for that.
Crane, anything you want to tell people about on Leg Up or otherwise?
Yeah, article came out this morning that I wrote on the running backs available in round 7 through 10. And I'm going to be, so I wrote up like a little intro and then just the running back profiles in round 7. I did a piece like a month or so ago looking at the early round running backs, looking at like 3 questions to ask about that range of the draft. And I did a similar approach in this article. I changed the questions though. So the questions were, let's see, our new questions were, is the projectable volume historically underpriced? How strong is the talent-based range of outcomes, and is there additional contingent value? So I evaluated all the running backs in round 7 through that framework, looking at their advanced stats and just kind of talking through the situations. That's out right now. First couple guys are above the paywall. And then I'm going to have round 8 tomorrow, round 9 on Wednesday, round 10, plus probably the Cowboys backfield as well, because I got to talk about that out on Thursday. And then Daniel Raz is going to have an article on this part of the draft, whether it's truly a running back oasis or if it's a running back mirage. That'll be out Friday.
Awesome. That sounds really interesting. Looking forward to checking that out. Sorry to cut you off. Did you have something else there, Pat?
I was also going to note that anyone who's not in the Discord, and if you're using the Sidekick, hop in. We do have the beta going on. You can test out the custom ranks, which I think we're getting pretty close to just launching as a feature on the Sidekick. And then we're pretty close to where DraftKings is going to be part of that beta test as well. So, awesome. I think we're pretty close on that hopefully sometime this week.
That's good news to me. That's all I can do right now up here in Maine is DraftKings. So we'll definitely have to check that out. Right. Anyways, fun stuff, guys. Check out Davis's streams. Check out Leg Up. We will be back next week. Peace.